Doom Generation's here to do a run-by fruiting on Dissect That Film.
As we celebrate 30 years of Mrs. Doubtfire.
Stay tuned, coming up next.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Dissect That Film podcast, where we dissect the good, the bad, and the ugly of the film world. I am your host, Brett Parker. Joining me, as always, my wonderful co-hosts, Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming. Hello. And joining us today are the ladies of probably one of the funniest podcasts out there. And who better to bring in to talk about a movie with the funniest man to ever walk this planet, but two of the funniest people on the internet. And that is Nicole and Tessa of the Doom Generation podcast.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
Yes.
Thank you for saying yes. It's always the most nerve-wracking thing when you ask your favorite podcast if they want to be on the show, and you're like, please say yes.
Well,
I don't know what
somebody who's actually listened and enjoys it rather than just getting that random, like just that blanket email where they've clearly never listened to you. Yeah. And it's just like, oh, you might want to listen to our podcast and see if you're a good fit. And I'm like,
what?
No, thank you.
Job interview.
No, thanks.
Wait,
we have enough shit to do.
So wait, we got to get vetted now? What is this?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I'm like, no, pass.
Well, before we talk about anything that has to do with why you're here, tell us about Doom Generation and what you guys do over there.
We talk about old movies
that
we, for the most part, loved growing up.
Yeah,
I mean, that's how it gets on the list.
Years.
Yeah. Stuff we watched from adolescence through till we were adults, probably.
Like real young adulthood, but things that doomed us in some way or another. Things that are not as cute as maybe they used to be.
Or
things that are not
that do hold up.
Yeah,
a lot of them actually held up better than I expected.
Yeah, because I was prepared to hate everything that I ever loved.
Right? And it's not been that bad. It's not been that bad.
Mm-mm.
We still love most of the stuff we always did.
Except for Edward Scissorhands.
Except for...
Yeah, I was just going to mention it. I was just going to say it.
Good.
I hate Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, as it turns out.
I gotta leave.
We loved it. We always loved it. It was a huge surprise because every time I'd always loved Edward Scissorhands. I think I probably had a T-shirt, all kinds of stuff.
I mean, it was all about Winona, it was about Tim Burton, it was all about the things.
It had all the good stuff. But watching it now, the plot, we were like,
wow,
what is happening in this movie?
I'm mad about it.
Is a cookie maker have celery? What is happening? I don't know. There was so many things that we were just
It killed Vincent Price.
We decided that movie killed Vincent Price.
Yeah. And for that, it can never be forgiven.
That's fair. I agree.
Yeah, Dan totally agrees with you guys. And what is that? I think we've done 5 Tim Burton movies, and it sits at the bottom of all the ones that we have talked, because we did the 2 Batmans, we did Sleepy Hollow, we did we did Beetlejuice.
Yeah,
and then we did
too.
Yeah, those are all still great.
Yeah. But that Edward Scissorhands, no,
I don't know.
Not that one.
Just
not that one.
Did not
that was the episode that made me laugh out loud at work.
We did not expect to do a full roasting.
We really didn't.
It
got
pretty
did not
harsh.
see that coming. But yeah, that's what happened. So that's kind of what we just get through these movies that we love, and that's
just
what
kind of riff along the way.
Yeah.
So it's not really informational or educational, or you might learn something new.
It's infotainment.
It's infotainment.
What? I don't know.
Infotainment.
Yeah, it's infotainment.
Yeah, so it's not well researched.
No, not
I
at all.
got excited because I heard taint in there. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, I was like, it's infotation. Wait, no, it's
entertaining.
It's entertaining.
There you go.
Because it's tainted in some way, but it's also entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
pending.
Yeah, because I think you guys released your Edward Scissorhands episode like a week or 2 after we did ours, and then the one that really brought us closer together was we literally released our Aliens episodes literally back to back. We released ours on a Friday. You guys had yours out on Saturday. I was like, well, I guess we're listening to a lot of Alien content this weekend, and it was great.
You guys did you did all of the Alien movies,
yeah,
right?
we went through the entire franchise.
Those were the first I want to say those were the first ones of yours that I listened to, was the aliens ones.
Yeah,
Or the
those
alien ones.
people are loving those episodes. People not loving so much our Disney episodes. I don't know if it's us or if it's just people don't want to hear anything about Disney.
Right? Like no one cares.
We have that weird fluke that our #1 episode is a 1959 Disney movie.
Yep.
Yes.
Somehow, some way.
And that can't be real. Like
it fell into like some sort of, I don't know what.
We won some sort of Disney podcast lottery, and that episode has double the numbers of our highest episode.
We somehow managed to sell our soul to Walt Disney,
right?
In secret without us knowing.
I think it's probably because it's a movie that doesn't get talked about a lot, probably in the Disney pantheon.
That's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, just because you don't hear about
that one.
One of our research assistants thought we made it up.
I know when we told her about the movie, she goes, "What are you talking about? That's like a fever dream."
She's like, "No, that never happened." We're like, "Yeah, Sean Connery was in it." She's like, "No, he wasn't."
She still hasn't watched it, I don't think.
No, I don't think she has. Like, we're sending her stills from the movie. Like, no, really, this is a thing. She's like, "No, this is not real. Like, you made all this up."
Yeah, which is funny because that movie came out in 59. So that's a year out from Connery becoming James Bond, and we're going to be talking about another actor who, 1 or 2 years later, would become James Bond.
Yeah,
that's pretty crazy.
That was after.
Yeah.
Okay.
So before we again keep going, I got 2 things I want to talk about. First, if you guys want to listen to these episodes early, we do have a Patreon for only $1. You can become a patron and listen to these episodes almost a week before their initial release. And we have all 4, except for me, all 4 of the people here are patrons of us. So thank you very much.
Oh, why aren't you a patron, you son of a bitch?
It's my show.
Pay yourself. I know, pay yourself. It adds a number.
It's all coming back to me anyways, which goes back into the show.
You don't lose $1. But it's a number.
No, it all goes to my snacks. Okay, it all goes to my snacks.
That's fine. At least you're honest about it. I want the fucking snacks.
Absolutely not. Listen, nothing's free. Well, I guess there is. I'm just too much of an idiot to research things. And another thing, we are participating in the live stream for The Cure, which is a live stream done. It's going to be on May 18th through the 20th on Twitch. It is a live stream to help raise money for cancer research. We're going to be doing it with a whole bunch of amazing podcasts out there. So make sure to check us out. We are going to be going, I think, on May 20th at 6 p.m. So make sure to check that out. That's going to be down in the description. I want to get that out of the way because if I do it at the end, I forget. But now we're going to talk about Mrs. Doubtfire. So and I'm so mad at myself. I had it in my head all day before we went live that I was going to intro the show by going, hello, and I didn't do
it. You ruined it. You didn't have pie or whatever, cake frosting on your face.
Yes, you would have done that.
Let's just start over. Fuck it.
No, we're too deep. We're too deep.
Go out and come back in again.
All right, guys, remember everything you just said. We're going to go again. So we're going to go around and talk about our history with this movie. And of course, we always start with our guests. So whoever wants to start first, talk about your history with Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, gosh. I feel like I saw this in theaters.
I think so.
I feel like I would have seen this in theaters for sure.
I loved Robin Williams, so I feel like anything that was, I was allowed, and if
it
wasn't like a heavy movie, I didn't see What Dreams May Come probably in the theater,
but it was 1993, so I'm sure.
Yeah, I was 13, I'm sure, prime age.
Yeah. So it's so quotable. I still remembered. I hadn't watched it in a really long time, so when I watched it again, I was hoping that it would still hold up, and I was still laughing out loud at some of those parts, like that. Like I said earlier when I sent that text message, I was like, Mrs. Doubtfire hurtling the table in the restaurant will never not be funny to me.
Help is on the way.
Help is on the way. Yeah, like all of the things. Hilarious.
And same. I think I probably saw it in the theater. I know I watched it multiple times as a kid, but I hadn't watched it in 20 years maybe before watching it today.
Yeah, I remember sending you the message asking you, hey, you guys want to do Mrs. Doubtfire? And you were like, yeah, I haven't seen this in a while.
Yeah, actually.
I'm like, oh, I really hope this holds up. And
I know.
It did.
Yeah. I was kind of worried that it might not.
Yeah, that's always so nerve-wracking when you sit down and watch a movie you hadn't seen so long. Please.
I know.
Especially movies from the 90s. Actually, movies from any decade. before the 2010s, probably.
Well, anything featuring Harvey Fierstein, I'm here for.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, yes.
Love Harvey Fierstein.
My favorite part of the whole movie.
I know he needed more camera
I
time.
needed more
more Uncle Frank and Aunt Jack.
Yes, for sure.
So
I wanted more musical numbers.
Dan, Angela.
Go for it.
Okay. You quick draw. She got me first. I'm sorry. Okay, so it's 93. So I had to be. When did this come out? Specifically in 93?
November.
Okay, so I was 7 when this came out. Okay. So I don't remember the first time I ever watched this movie, but I always remember it being around. Like between like my aunt's house and our house, and it was just watched. You just come in and it was being watched. So I remember scenes from it. Of course, me being that age, I didn't really give two shits about the movie for the most part. Just outside of a few scenes, because it's not dinosaurs, giant monsters, or cartoons. I probably didn't care. But no, I do remember some aspects of the film. And I was really going to this hoping, like for yourselves, because I hadn't seen it since I was really, really little. Like probably not long after it came out on VHS. So I would have been probably 8 because it took forever for shit to come out back then. But I was probably I wasn't sure how I'd feel about it because I was like being a little bit older, how I'd feel about it. And I think for the most part, I enjoyed it more because again, I didn't give a shit back then. But it was an alright movie. I enjoyed it. I didn't like it as much as I was hoping I would have, but it had some good parts in it. And being a dad or just a parent in general, the whole message of the film, I really liked the goal. And I'm not going to get into it because we'll talk about it, but how it ended, just how that all ended up going down, I really enjoyed. So
yeah,
I liked the performances, and then you just said his name,
Harvey Fierstein.
There you go. Thank you. He's funny. My mom always loved him, and of course, anytime we talk about him, I always think of Independence Day. So
Independence Day,
David. Always what I remember. But he's great. It's fun. It's just a fun movie. I didn't laugh as much as I thought I would have, but it's all right. It's still enjoyed it more. But go ahead.
I don't remember when I first what time I first watched this, but I do remember watching this.
You don't remember the exact time? Like if it was like 11:15
not the exact
in the
time.
morning or something?
You should.
I don't. I was 8 when this came out, so I probably would have been too young to watch it then. But I do remember watching this because between this and Patch Adams, like those were my two favorite Robin Williams movies growing up. But yeah, I mean, I love Robin Williams. Like I just watched the it's a documentary that his wife was a part of just recently.
I haven't heard anything about it.
Was it one that came out like a couple years after he died?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it. I can't remember the name of it. But.
Just bringing back that, like her talking about him, like it just makes me love him even more.
Yeah.
So I love Pierce Brosnan.
I don't like the way he was shot in this movie. So he just looked weird. Something about him. It wasn't the spray tan. Maybe it was just the angles, because I was thinking Pierce Brosnan as James Bond or that motherfucker from Dante's Peak. And he didn't look right. Something about him did not look right in this movie. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's just
He
me.
was too skinny.
No, it may have been. Maybe
he was pretty thin.
He was thin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was before he actually had to put on.
Yeah, I think that may be it. I think that's
bulk up before that.
That's
he was still
liposuction, dear.
Remington Steele.
Yes, he was still Remington Steele.
He still looked like Remington Steele to me.
Right.
So.
That's what it was. Well, I had to pump the brakes when he said he was pushing 40. I said, a beg?
Was he
No
really?
shit.
He
says in there that he was
did you
pushing...
look up the real age?
No,
though?
I didn't look up that.
Yeah, he was born in 53, I think. So yeah, he was 40. So he was 40, or he was pushing 40 when it was filmed.
So yeah,
I guess so.
Sally Field was 47.
Really?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
She never ages,
all right.
though.
She looks.
So
I know. She looks exactly the same all the time.
But with gray hair now. That's it.
I mean,
she takes her Bonivas.
Well, like she was in this, and I always remember her being like looking younger, and I remember seeing the first Amazing Spider-Man. I'm like, heck, that hasn't been that long, right? It was only 20 years. Now she looks 80. Like, no, she still looks good.
she looks great. But yeah, like There's a couple of scenes where the dinner scene, I'm cackling.
Oh yes.
That is
that
one
was
of my
such a-
favorite. That's one of my
There
favorite
was
scenes.
so many
It
poor
was great.
choices made by these people. Like,
Yes.
why would you set yourself up to have to do any of this?
Right?
Right.
It's insane.
Yes. But
Well, I guess that's also the thing. Like when you watch it now, like some of this stuff isn't quite as cute as it was when you were a kid.
No.
Yeah.
As a grown adult, you're like,
Yeah.
mm.
Your opinion changes about some of the things
I probably would have reacted way worse than she did.
to coming home to farm animals in your house.
In my San Francisco row house?
Right? That was a nice
Oh.
ass house.
That was a nice ass house.
If you brought him in my house, it's a different story. He'd be like,
Well,
yeah, whatever.
yeah, it's
just
like,
another
yeah,
day.
How is he gonna have
barnyard
it all,
animals, whatever.
how is he gonna have all that cleaned up before she got
That's
home?
what we
I
were
know. We
saying.
were like, she knew she was coming home
Yeah.
he
later.
had 4 hours total
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
the party started and
Yeah.
get the thing cleaned up.
and
and
yet
I
there's a
wouldn't
pony
even-
in the living room.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even have set the stuff down. I would have just been like, I would have turned around and walked right
You
back
would've,
out.
true.
Like,
It's
I
100%.
wouldn't even
Yeah,
have
I
been
probably
like,
would have left.
I would have told that, the cab, or did she take a cab or she drove up?
No, she
drove
drove
up. I would
up,
have just
but there
driven
was a cop
past. I would have just
outside.
driven past.
Right? I would be like, nope, I don't
Nope,
live here.
don't live here. I
Don't
will
live here
try
no more.
again.
She just keep driving.
I'll try again in a couple
right
hours.
over to Stu's house.
I'm gonna go feed myself some dinner.
Bye.
Yeah.
Just light it
Yeah.
up.
I'm gonna check
I don't
into
know
the
who
Rit.
I don't know why I came to this house. I don't live here. I don't know.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, this isn't my address. And just
Yeah,
keep
I don't know
driving.
who this is. That's
Mike,
weird.
Mike, you worked and everything, but I don't live here.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add, Angela?
No, I'm just seeing some screenshots from the movie, and it just makes me laugh all over again.
I have something to add. I have something to add to this. Okay, it just hit me when we were talking about this. I don't know about everybody here, but obviously we have children. But my 9-year-old likes watching movies with us, and he sits down in the scene where the one caseworker's coming to his house, and he's having to swap between himself and Mrs. Doubtfire,
Right,
and he's being
yeah.
undressed, and I'm just sitting here. And I'm like, how is my son reacting to this scene to see this man taking all this stuff off and having a realistically shaped bodysuit and a bra and stuff on? I'm just like leaning next to him. I'm just like, dude, it's just bodysuit. Just played it cool. Like I didn't make a big deal out of it. I was like, it's just bodysuit. But my mind's just like, how is he taking this in right now? Because they were asking me, what's he doing? I was like, he's just dressing up to spend time with his kids. It's tall talk. All right, we'll explain later. It's a lot going on here.
And then the little girl says GD. He's like, oh, bad word. And
Yep.
I'm like,
I know.
Like,
Like
yes,
more
thank you
choice
for pointing that
phrases. Like,
out.
she could have said worse. You should have seen what my kid wrote in his father's birthday card.
Uh-oh.
Talking about, because it was a card about farts.
Oh
His son is 10. Yeah, it was a card about farts, and he was talking, like, he signed the card, like, oh, like, he said something about pulling your finger, and I hope you don't shit. And I was like,
Thanks,
wow,
dude.
really? Like, that's very,
Whoa.
very bold of you, 10-year-old, to write that in your father's fart card for his birthday.
Yeah, my 15-year-old
So-
watched Mrs. Doubtfire with me, and he doesn't ever say anything, but he laughed. Like
Yeah,
there were
like, he
definitely
doesn't-
points where he laughed.
Yeah.
He had no questions.
It doesn't
He
even
got
occur to
He's
him.
15.
He's like, whatever.
yeah, he doesn't.
It
care.
just this is our 9-year-old's kind of our different one of the bunch.
he's
Very observational. That's why I'm like,
he's
how is he?
special. He really is.
Yeah.
He is special. He will point out everything. He's very literal about everything. You have to get your facts right, or he
Points
he
them
will
out.
correct you. He will correct you. You said this wrong, or you did this wrong, or that doesn't happen that way in that movie. I'm like, it's just a movie. It's okay.
So when I watch this at like 8 or 9 or 8 probably. So like, but I'm a simpleton. So like, I don't. He's smart. Like my son, I don't know how he processes. Anyway, just irrelevant, but conversation.
Yeah, this was probably like the second Robin Williams movie I had ever seen, because I think the first one had to be Aladdin.
Yeah.
And this was
Yeah.
so. This
Oh, I
was like
used to
the
watch Mork
first.
and Mindy.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
my mom
remember that.
had it on, and I remember seeing the episode that he was on Happy Days, because my mom used to watch all those
Mhm.
shows from back then. Because TV Land, that's what TV Land used to play all the time. But now TV Land plays like King of Queens. I'm like, what is this? What are we
Oh,
doing?
that's weird.
This isn't
Yeah.
old.
That's really
Wait a
weird.
minute.
This isn't what I
That's
grew up
from the
watching.
90s,
No.
man.
Yeah.
That's weird.
But yeah, I think this
I mean,
was like the first time I had seen him on camera. And
oh, really? That
Oh.
seems weird to me because we're so much older than you.
Right.
So I'm like,
so-
Robin Williams is part of my life for my whole entire life.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't
his
think I
face
ever knew
was
the time where like Robin Williams did not exist.
Yeah, I always knew who Robin Williams was and
Mhm.
what he looked like for my since
I have
can
a
remember.
Mork and Mindy lunch pail.
Oh yeah, she
Yeah,
has the
'cause-
Mork and Mindy lunch
Mhm.
pail.
That's what that's what I watched growing up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There was never a time that there was no Robin Williams.
No, there is now.
I know. Well,
But
now
he lives forever through
Well,
the
that's
movies.
what I'm saying. He goes on.
Mm-hmm.
That was definitely a celebrity death that hit me really hard.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was a tough.
It was like
one.
Robin Williams and Steve Irwin. Those were like the two that hit me the hardest.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
'Cause
God.
that was what I grew up with. Those two guys were like my favorite people in the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie just I mean, I watched it a couple hours ago for the first time in probably 5+ years, and it still hits. It still made me laugh,
Mm-hmm.
which some movies just don't do that anymore. You know, you get a chuckle here and there, but there's not a lot of movies that really let you get out a good laugh. And Robin
Right.
Williams just knew how to do it. And it wasn't even just Robin Williams. It was just the line delivery from everyone involved. Everybody in this
Yep.
movie was just so on point. Sally Field, Pierce
Right.
Brosnan, Harvey Firestein, who is just so good.
He's so good.
He's so good.
Oh.
I love it. I mean, just the fact of how, like, I watched a lot of the behind the scenes of the making of this, and just how much fun everyone has when he was around. You know, the fact that like Chris Columbus, who's the director, wanted Robin Williams to pretty much just improvise and do what he normally does. You know, I know there was a lot of directors who didn't like that, you know, that full improvisation because it just made things last a lot longer. But Chris
Right.
Columbus was all about it. There was times he said he had to like walk away from shooting scenes because he couldn't hold his laughter; it would have ruined the shot. And
Oh, for sure.
yeah, it's funny how impactful Robin Williams was and how natural he was at it. And yeah, I love this movie to this day. Yes, there are like little like lines here and there in the movie that don't age well, but it's one of those things that you just kind of, it's not so blatant where you're just like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Like some
Yeah, it
90s,
doesn't, like-
80s or 90s movies, you're like, oh shit. Yep.
Like,
That's
I don't know if I
weird.
could watch this anymore.
Right.
This is real uncomfortable.
It doesn't seem like it's coming from a hateful spot. It's
No.
just a 1993 spot.
Yeah,
that's
it's
coming
just
from.
1993 humor.
And I mean, really, the only victim in this whole entire movie, the only real and true victim in this whole entire movie is that poor bus driver.
Oh, poor guy.
I feel so badly
He
for
had
that
the
bus
hots for
driver.
her so
He
bad.
really thought
He
he was
did.
making a connection with another lonely person.
He was
this
even
poor old
accepting
man.
of her Mediterranean
I
style.
know. He was like, "Ooh, I
He was
love
like,
me a
"Ooh,
hairy
Oh.
big woman.
Natural the way they come.
I love it just like that." So I mean, like he's the only real and true victim in this.
Yeah,
Maybe Natty.
there's I'm going to talk about some of the behind or the deleted scenes because there's a lot of them. Especially a lot of deleted scenes that include the neighbor, Mrs. I'm going to call her Mrs. Deagle from Gremlins because that's who she is. Chris Columbus, the director, he wrote Gremlins, and so I'm guessing that's where that relationship came from.
Maybe.
But yeah, this movie's fantastic. I love it. It's still probably one of my favorite Robin Williams movies. I know there's a lot of great ones out there, but this one just hits the spot every time. And as a product of divorced parents, I'm glad it didn't go like this, but also a little bit I kind of wish it went like this because my parents' divorce was nothing like this. There was a lot more.
Yeah,
Sure,
same.
This is not the.
I think I might have preferred if my dad had tried to pull a Mrs. Doubtfire. Instead,
Really?
he's in a box in my closet.
He's in a box instead.
No.
He's in
No.
a box in your closet.
He was a deadbeat dad, and somehow I had no relationship with him, but somehow I still ended up with his ashes.
So she's got.
And
his
so I don't know
own-
what to do with them because he
they're
wasn't.
human cremains.
Yeah.
Like, what are you supposed to do?
Put him
with
where
them?
he
They're just in a
belongs,
box.
in the fucking
Well,
They're in
closet.
a box that
I
came
mean,
in.
he's in the
Yep.
closet
Yep, it's been
with
like,
a measuring
it's
cup
been like a
inside because
decade.
people took some.
Yeah.
It's not even a complete.
It's,
Oh,
yeah, it's not the
no.
complete set.
It's not
It's not the complete
I mean,
dad
we're gonna
set.
put them back together,
Oh, I wasn't gonna
You
try to
will
puzzle that back
rebuild him.
together.
reconstitute them.
Yeah,
Like, put a
his-
little water.
His friends who lived by wherever he was when he died, because he didn't live in our state, they scooped some out first, and then they left the.
It was like
it
the
was a
seal was
measuring cup,
broken.
like a cooking measuring
doing
cup,
this,
like
I
a
scoop
quarter
it,
cup
just-
on it. Yep.
Yeah,
And they
just-
left the cup in the bag of
In case you
cremains
wanted to-
and then sealed it up and sent it. I guess, yeah, thinking in case you want to scoop and you don't want to dirty.
You're not putting it in your coffee. I'm
No.
confused.
I know.
Why?
I don't know.
There was
And I
a
left
s-
it in there. There's
Make a
still a
cake
scoop
with it.
because I'm not touching it. It's
Right, like,
covered
you're
in
not gonna
cremains.
cook
Like,
with it
what am
now.
I gonna do now? Like, yeah.
It just
it's still
reminds
in
me
there,
of the
so
scene.
He lives with the cup.
That reminds me of the
He
scene
rests.
in Due Date. I don't know if you guys have ever seen
I don't know if I
Robert
saw
Downey
that,
Jr.
so-
and Zach Galifianakis. So Zach Galifianakis' dad is
Uh-uh.
dead, and he's in a coffee cup, and he accidentally makes a cup of coffee with the ashes, and he drinks it, and he tells him that his dad's in there, and he just keeps drinking. He's like, "Stop drinking the coffee."
Oh,
Gross,
yeah. I don't know about all that.
Gross.
Yeah.
I don't know about all that. My
Well,
dad's
not the way
in
I thought
similar
this
form,
video
so
was
I
gonna
don't like
start.
it.
Yeah, but
That's
your
very
parents
interesting.
weren't divorced though.
Well, no, I'm not a product of divorce.
But yeah, mine were divorced from the time I was like 2. So
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's
I
the
don't
same with
remember
me.
any of
That's
it.
all I
Yeah.
remember. Like I don't know any different.
Unfortunately, I've been watching too much TikTok, and there's too many dead parent jokes that people
I
make.
hate
So
that.
that unfortunately does not surprise me that somebody left a measuring cup.
You've
Ooh.
heard that one
Yeah.
before on TikTok. Not the first time.
Not the first time.
So, as we stated before, this movie was directed by Chris Columbus.
Oh.
We're walking.
No, he
Not
started.
that
It's
guy.
like, let's reel this back in.
I
He
could have kept this
made
going. That's
he
not
made his
bad.
directorial debut in 1987 with Adventures in Babysitting. He would go on to do Home Alone 1 and 2. He actually directed Robin Williams in another film, Bicentennial Man, and he directed the
Oh.
first 2 Harry Potter movies. He's done he did the first Percy Jackson. He did The Help in 2011 and Pixels with Adam Sandler back in
Oh,
2015.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Did not see
I
that.
don't think I saw that. I
Yeah,
don't believe I saw
Rotten
that.
Tomatoes rating on that one was
Yeah, he also, as I stated, he wrote Gremlins and was a writer for Goonies.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
This was based on a book, a 1987 book called Alias Madame Doubtfire, which I guess is way darker than this movie.
Ooh.
I actually want to
intrigued.
check it out.
Did
Yeah.
she kill people
Yeah.
with her? Did she kill people with her fake tits?
Smothers them.
Come to me and like smothers them in her bosom because like I'm assuming they're a large person. Like Anyway, I don't know what the sound effect was for, but I'm gonna go.
This was actually brought to the table by Williams' wife at the time. I think her name's Marcia Garces Williams. I guess she had read the book back in 1987. She wanted to put it, make it into a movie, and she literally, as soon as she brought it in, she recommended Robin for the role. Even though there were, Tim Allen was offered the role and declined.
He'd
No,
go on to be
thank
Santa
you.
Claus.
Yeah, he would go
No,
on to be
thank
Santa
you.
the next
It's
year.
funny. You gotta do a fat suit thing later.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. That would have been awful.
Yeah, I can't see Tim Allen in this role
No.
for some reason.
No. Unless he was transporting cocaine in his old woman suit.
Oh,
It's a whole
Or-
different movie.
That's a whole different story.
That-
he could have done that story.
That was
watched
the
that
sequel
one I would,
idea.
that one I
Sure.
watched.
or it's
Instead of
twins.
trying to get back with his kids, he was trying to get that cocaine across the border.
Yep.
Yes.
That would have worked. but
Mrs. Drug Mule.
Mrs.
There you go.
Drugfire.
That was
Yes.
that was the sequel idea. It didn't go through. Music was done by Howard Shore, who's most famous for doing the scores for the Lord of the Rings movies. This stars Robin Williams, of course, Sally Field, Pierce Brosnan, only 2 years out from becoming James Bond. Chris Columbus is actually the one who recommended him to audition for James Bond. At least that's what Chris Columbus said. I don't know if that's actually the truth. Harvey Fierstein, who we talked about a couple episodes ago because he did a voice in the animated Mulan. He would also go on 3 years later to be in Independence Day. And then I don't know. I'm not too familiar with what he did after that. Mrs. Doubtfire and Independence Day were like the two that I knew him from. And then I was like, I don't know what happened to him.
I just don't know. He's just out there being Harvey.
Just out there being Harvey
Just
Fierstein.
out there being Harvey.
I think he
Fierstein.
was in a Mint Mobile commercial this past year, Ryan Reynolds'
Probably.
company. I think so. Because
Sure.
Rick Moranis showed up in one of those
Oh,
commercials. So like all
maybe.
those actors who
That's
hadn't
right.
done
He sure
things in a
did.
while, they come back for Mint
He's
Mobile.
a fellow Canadian, so
Mhm.
That's right.
they're. What does he do?
And don't get Harvey
What is
Fierstein
Harvey
mixed
up
up with
to
the
right
other
now?
Harvey,
I don't
the
know.
one we don't want to talk about.
No,
Don't do that.
not the devil.
No.
Not that way.
This movie was released
Newsies,
November.
Hairspray Live, Mulan 2.
Oh, he came back in Mulan too. So there was.
Too.
Yeah, he was there for the sequel. You knew he was. I don't know. Oh, Death to Smoochie. I love that movie.
Oh yes, another Robin Williams classic that does not get talked about.
Yeah,
it does not
that
get
one's
talked about.
good. No, that's an underrated film.
Yeah,
right there.
Edward Norton, so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this movie came out November 24th, 1993. I was 2 years old. I just like to.
I can hear myself rot.
I was 14.
Right? Shut up.
This had a budget of $25 million and made $441.3 million at the box office.
Nice.
1993 for a comedy is insane. Because listen, as funny as this movie is and how good it is, if you released it now, it ain't making anywhere close to that amount of money. Even if Robin Williams was still alive to do this movie, that movie is not making. Comedies just don't make the money anymore, unless it's a superhero comedy like Deadpool. You know, that movie blew up and was like, now I think it's the highest rated R-rated comedy of all time. Wow, I gave myself a tongue twister there.
I mean,
So for people that don't see, that people that don't watch the podcast and just listen, you miss out on me giving Parker the eye every time he says how old he was when a movie came out.
I'm sorry, I can't help it. I think my favorite thing is when you have like people that are older than you, like telling you something like you chose when you were born. I'm like, I'm sorry, my parents had sex in January of 1991. Like I can't help I was born when I was born. That's just how it works.
I'm not that's not what I'm pointing out.
No, I'm not saying that's what you're saying, but
like,
I know that's how people like they project themselves when they're talking about, when I grew up and all that bullshit. Like, cool, that's great. I couldn't help it. I didn't choose the day. It just happened.
I'm just angry at your
youth.
I'm just angry at your youth. That's all.
Yeah. All right. I wasn't even born when this one came out. I'm like, I was 5.
I may be young, but I don't feel it.
Tell me about it.
The children just suck your youth out, make you feel way older.
They do.
That's
true. That is true.
Like a bunch of little Madonnas.
Yeah.
My sister always said,
Madonna parasite.
What happened to Madonna? Can we talk about that for a second? What happened? Haven't seen her lately.
She can't see herself in the mirror, so she doesn't
under
know.
The bed. She keeps getting under the bed. They can't get her out.
They gotta pull her out every morning.
I saw that picture. I didn't think it was real.
Do they keep her?
No, it's real.
Under there. She was there.
It was real.
They couldn't get her out.
Is it like one of those?
Couldn't get her out part's not true, but that was a real picture of her weird shaped butt under that bed.
We don't know if that was true or not. We weren't there.
We like to think that they couldn't get her out. That they have to pull her out a couple times a day.
They have
to
scurries
under the bed.
To
shake a virgin to entice her out, like, come on, Madonna, time for your daily.
Like a virgin, come on, Mama.
Yes.
Madonna.
Yes.
Who am I thinking of? The actual lady, Bathory, that used to bathe in the blood of virgins. That's what I'm thinking. This whole conversation, but I would like think they like those lugs.
That's what she does.
I'm sure. I'm absolutely sure because she's rich. Or well, I'm assuming she's still rich. I don't know. They could just pick up homeless people.
She doesn't even know where she's at half the time.
I was watching 4 Rooms today, and my husband walked in, and it was that scene, the witch coven scene in 4 Rooms. And my husband goes, "Who's that?" Like being a smart ass.
I was like, "No."
He goes, "Who's that?" And I go, "What are you talking about? Who?" He goes, "Her in the black dress." I go, "Shut." I go, "You don't recognize her?" I go, "That's Madonna." And he goes, "No, that doesn't look like Madonna." I'm like, "Yeah, because that's when she still looked like Madonna." Smart ass.
Yes, it does. That looks like Madonna. Mm-hmm. I don't know who this woman is now. Harpo.
Yes,
Harpo.
Who this woman?
Who's this woman?
Yeah, her face is weird now. I'm sorry.
I know.
It's
she's
your
blind.
choice.
She doesn't know. Like,
you wanted it. You like
all
it.
All I'm saying is take a look at Cher. Take a look at Cher.
She's still.
I saw a video of Cher
really?
recently, 75, and she's wearing pasties and like nothing. And I was like,
damn.
Hot damn.
Look at.
Oh yeah.
Look at.
Yes.
Just like those.
Liana made us these for Showgirls.
Yeah. Show that episode will probably be out by the time this is out because this is
it comes out a week from today.
I want to look like that.
Because this episode will be out for like 3 weeks because we have so many episodes in the bank.
Will be out.
That one will be out. It comes out next week.
Yeah. So congratulations on 100 episodes.
Sacrifice babies.
Same to you guys.
Yes.
You guys just passed 100 episodes.
Yes.
Years all around.
Yeah.
Show us.
What are we doing?
Cheers.
I don't know yet.
Cheers.
Oh.
There's just a lot, a lot of talking. You know,
we're not going to talk about the movie. It's fine.
No.
No, let's talk about the movie. Are you guys ready to talk about the plot of Mrs. Doubtfire?
Hell yeah.
Let's do this.
Fuck yeah, I am. Let's do it.
Left field all night. It's okay.
And if anyone is listening going, I really hope it's as smooth as Doom Generation. It's not. So be prepared.
Hey, we're how many episodes in? It's not going to get any better, but it's okay.
It's not going to get any better. No, this is it, guys. This is the limit. We can't get any better than this.
It's like
we're chaos agents. So
peaked.
Yeah,
dude, it's the marriage thing, dude. If you've been married for a long time or with somebody for a long time, you're past the peak already. You know what you're getting. It's all fucking downhill from here.
Damn, we're only 2 years into this. We're already going downhill, man.
We've been married long enough. We just know it doesn't get any better.
Yeah, it's true facts. I still love you.
All right. High hopes.
I still love you.
I love you too, Parker. We're still in the honeymoon, dude. It's only been 2 years.
Yeah.
We've known each other longer than that. All right. So this movie opens to an animated... it has an animated opening with the animation done by Chuck Jones, classic Looney Tunes illustrator. Fantastic, with Robin Williams doing the opera singing. I don't know what the song is called, but he does it so fucking perfect.
Figaro.
We get to see this beautiful like knockoff of Sylvester and Tweety. And what was the bird's name in this one? I can't remember what the bird's name was.
Write it down.
I don't know.
It's all in there, but I don't give.
Yeah, so he's doing a voiceover. Yeah. He was doing a voiceover, and he chooses to say different things because the bird gets a cigarette shoved in his mouth. He doesn't agree with it, so he changes the words and like causes him to react, pissing off the guy controlling it. And you get a whole thing where Daniel quits his job over this. I love when he asks the guys in the booth, and they're all smoking. Like,
I know. Like, do you think that we should be doing this? So like, oh.
He's like, that's bias.
Yeah.
I call for a mistrial.
But this next part, when they're walking out, when he's walking out, is probably one of the lines I quoted the most growing up. Was the "piss off, Lou"? Piss off, Lou.
Yes.
But instead of Lou, you would just fit whoever's name you wanted to just say it to.
Right.
I quit my job that way.
Please do. My mom used to say that all the time.
So he gets out of work early. He goes pick up his kids, and it is the son's birthday. It's his 12th birthday. This kid looks like he's 15. I have an 11-year-old. My son does not look anywhere the same age as which Lawrence? What Lawrence was this?
Matthew Lawrence.
Matthew Lawrence,
he's
not Joey.
Chili from TLC right now.
That's right. He's dating Chili from TLC.
Wow.
That's a hot couple. I know.
He's got a podcast with his brothers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like all the Lawrence I?
Yeah,
That's
there's
at least
Joey.
three, right?
I think it's Joey's the oldest. There's Joey,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Matt, and then I can't remember the third one because I don't remember anything. I
don't know. Yeah, there is another one, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a little more.
Yeah, the little Lawrence.
I was gonna say there's more than two brothers.
I don't
Your
fucking
quote
know. I
doesn't-
was just
Pocket size. This little Lawrence that they have back up.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get to meet all three of the kids. We get to meet Lydia, played by Lisa Jacob, who would also be in Independence Day in 1996.
Oh yeah.
We got
That's
Matt.
right.
oh, she was.
Yeah, we got Matthew Lawrence as the middle child, Chris, and then we have Mara Wilson, who plays Nat. Who this was Mara Wilson's first film. She would literally have
She's
a
so cute.
crazy 3-year span between. She started off with this, then she did Miracle on 34th Street in 94, and then in 95 was Matilda, which that was the movie that kind of put her into the stratosphere. And then, she didn't really do much after that. She kind of left the industry for a while. I know her mom passed away during the filming of Matilda, so that kind of screwed with her. She goes around, does like press junkets, and goes to cons once in a while to talk about Matilda and some of the other movies that she's been a part of.
I don't know if she still is, but she was a prolific tweeter for a while there.
Yeah.
She was getting into all the politics and being very, and I agreed with it, like,
well, like she had
on the quote unquote right side of politics.
The reason why she left doing all of that stuff is because she had kind of a weird time as a child.
Right. She did say that. Didn't she say Danny DeVito and Rhea Perlman were like her, like they were so nice to her?
They took care of her while they were filming Matilda because her mom was sick. And then he got her like an advance copy of the movie so she could see it before she passed away.
Right, yeah. He made special arrangements so her mom could see the movie.
Yeah, because she passed away before like released, but he made sure that she could see it before then. And I mean, obviously she didn't go on living with Danny DeVito and Rhea Perlman.
Right, that's her parents to this day.
Right, she still lives there. She lives with Miss Henny.
She's like 35 and she still lives with them.
That'd be weird. But somehow nice.
Right? I would accept it.
I would.
Blake Lively auditioned to be Natalie.
Oh, really?
I was like, oh, all right.
She was old enough.
Because I think she was born in the late 80s, probably, right? I mean, Mara Wilson was only 5 in this.
Yeah.
And I think that was her actual age.
God, I can't imagine, like, remembering lines.
Because, she did
like,
a good job.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's adorable.
She was super cute.
She's the cutest little thing. Well, I guess. She's an adult woman now. Like,
little 35-year-old lady.
You're the cutest.
Not anymore. No, I'm just kidding.
She looks exactly the same.
She does.
Kind of. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because
her trivia on her IMDb page, it says during her audition, they asked her how she would react if her dad was dressed up as a woman. And she said some of the others were kind of, taken aback by it. She said, I would be on the floor. I was like, yeah, I would laugh at my dad if he was dressed up as a man, a woman, You know my dad.
He had the whole mask on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That would be kind of weird.
Oh, man. I can't wait to talk about when he changes into Mrs. Doubtfire, because that's not how special effects work. So it's Chris's birthday, so they're going to set up it's a carnival at their house. It is farm animals outside, and there's like the entire city of San Francisco's kids at this house.
Yeah,
with no adults.
Everybody.
Just him. He's the only adult present.
So all of these other adults are also irresponsible because they all just
drop their kids off where this crazy rager is happening.
Fuck Miranda Hillard. I'm sending my kids over there.
Yeah, they're like,
animals in her house.
Go make that sheep shit all over her house. Eat her begonias or whatever the hell.
Eat her begonias.
I don't care
and like you didn't know you had that.
But if you ever had people in my house,
no, that many
people that bothered me. I don't care about
that many children in the house.
Jumping on your furniture,
swinging from the
hanging from the chandelier.
Yeah, you'd be making up for it for months.
Probably.
Oh no, that would be it.
I would go full Miranda. Like, I want to divorce.
Yeah, well, the only reason that she went full Miranda is because she heard that Stu was calling earlier.
Right, and she's all,
like that was part of it.
This is a perfect opportunity.
I'm gonna lock and keep it in my pocket, and I'm gonna just keep that in mind.
Yeah. I don't remember as a kid. I always thought as a kid that they get divorced because of this. Like, I thought this was like it. And then as an adult, when you rewatch, as an adult, when you rewatch it and you hear her talking to Mrs. Doubtfire later in the movie, talking about how like she cried herself to sleep. She had been unhappy for years. And I'm like, oh shit, I don't remember any of these lines as a kid. This is sad.
Broke the canvas back.
So instead of his big party or his soccer cake, well, in addition to his big party.
Right. Well, the pony ate the cake.
Yeah, the pony ate the cake. He gets for his 12th birthday to hear his parents freaking divorce, basically.
Yeah, that's pretty messed up.
That they were on the stairwell. Like, really, you don't have to do it today. Like, tell him we are gonna have to have a conversation.
We're gonna have to have a talk about this because this is we need to clean this stuff. You need.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm not.
I wouldn't have touched a motherfucking.
Nope. I would have gone right back out.
Those children better get out here.
Go to a bar.
Right?
I'll go get some
they were in on this.
Yeah.
You and the kids are cleaning this up. I'm gonna go check into a place downtown. I'm ordering room service. I'm gonna take a bath. And tomorrow, when I'm nice and calm, we'll talk about this. Because right now, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There's a deleted scene where they actually have an argument outside where Mrs. Deagle's listening. Was her name Gloria? I think was her name.
I don't know. We're calling her Gladys Kravitz.
Yeah. Mrs. Deagle to me. And Jill Taylor's mom from Home Improvement. Yeah, they have an argument outside with her, and she just stares at them the entire time. And Daniel's just like, "Can I help you?
Did you get all that?"
Yeah. And she literally is like snipping back at him. Like, you're a bad guy, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, this woman sucks. Like, I get it. Like, the fact that like this shit is happening and she calls, I don't see that as like the biggest issue. But her just kind of butting into their business after the fact.
Well,
like,
she does it all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, she does it all the time.
That's why I don't know why
work constantly. Yeah. Well, I don't know why he thought he was gonna get away with it.
Yeah, I don't know why he thought he knew he had that nosy neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
You know she gonna call and tell on you because you're making all this noise. Yep. Like there was no way you were getting
playing
away with
House
this.
of Pain at irrational levels.
Well, and then on top of all that, to leave the mother of the children out of the party completely.
Yeah.
And make her the bad guy where it's like, mom says you don't get a party, but guess what? Not only am I going to give you a secret party that mom doesn't know about, it's going to be the coolest party you've ever been to.
See, that
People
was
talk about it for years.
Too, was that like now after going back and watching it as an adult, when she says, mom said no parties because your report card sucked. And dad comes through like, whatever she says doesn't matter. I'm getting you barnyard animals. Like,
yeah, I would be pissed.
I would be pretty angry too.
Like, I watch this movie now as a grown up and realize that Daniel from this film is my dad, like to a T, like 100%. Like, this is my fucking dad. He's a damn big kid that was the same we did because we wanted something. We live with my mom mainly. Yeah. We wanted something. If she didn't do it, we pissed and moaned till dad, until he pissed and moaned at her. And then the arguments are just like they are in this fucking movie. Like, exactly. And then they would just do it. Kids. Yeah, and he'd do it fucking anyway. Because I tell him not to do shit with my kids. Like, oh, fuck it, I'm going to do it anyway. Like, thanks, Dad. It's a way to set a good example. But, yeah.
So, yeah, Mrs. Deagle calls Miranda. She is an interior designer, and she is told that... what's his name? Dunmire. Stu Dunmire wants to talk to her about some stuff, and she gets all
I know, she's like flustered.
Boy, I think I'm about to ask for a divorce today.
I know. She's like, she was already thinking that when she went home.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, she kept it in her pocket. She had it open as an option.
She got a little lady boner
now that I know
at the name.
Yep.
She was probably hurrying home so she could change her fucking underwear.
Right. Oh, damn. She was like, oh,
Steel. A little swampy down there.
She's like, oh, Remington steel? Hell yeah.
You want some of that steel. She was at Hot Dickens.
So, yeah, she gets home. There's a literal block party at this one house. Kids are swinging like chimps on the chandelier. You got kids jumping on the couches. It's fucking chaos. And then you walk into a room and Daniel's just jumping on the couch with his kids, like, yo, what's up there, Miranda?
They're doing choreographed dance moves.
Yeah,
on the
they're doing like hip hop dances.
I would have jumped on the couch too.
Jump. I love that song.
Girl, so my kid.
I seen him in real life one time.
Oh yeah,
at the hospital. Well, like checking into the hospital. He was doing a thing at the hospital for like the kids.
Oh, okay.
So he was just there seeing what's up because it was at the hospital that like saved his life or something. So he was there. My husband pointed him out. He's like, hey, did you see that guy? It's the guy from House of Pain. I was like, oh, okay. He wasn't there in like a professional capacity.
Imagine that's the weirdest place to ask for an autograph, huh? At a hospital?
I know. Be like, hey, well, like he wasn't sick. It was like he was doing something there.
But still, I'd just be like, weird.
But still, yeah, like that would be weird.
Me trying to point out when I worked at Shopko, the one player from the Cornhuskers, I'm like, he's like, who was it? I'm like, oh no, I just know he played for the Cornhuskers because everybody else was.
It's my guy.
Who?
Like,
it's the guy you like on that team. You know him, right?
Yeah.
I was just trying to sell him a VCR.
Buy the VCR, you motherfucker. You need the one with the DVD player so you can record the shit on your DVDs.
I worked at Walmart in the electronics department, and man, those DVD VHS players were they sold like hotcakes, man. They were like $40.
Dude, he was
they
like
were trash.
Bills, dude. He's just like, Parker was rich back then. He's like, fucking dude, I went to like 30 of these today. I got a bonus and shit.
I'm mad I never ended up buying one.
Right?
There's a whole truck full of them in that first Fast and Furious.
Yes.
Yeah, I was about to say that. You just need
the Fast and the Furious was just about stealing VCR DVD combos.
Like, what was that even about? They're like, wow, it's like such a top score, bro. Like, hey, fam, it's like, this is the shit right here.
And now,
hijack this truck.
And now we're like
look
driving
at us.
over ice lakes with submarines. What the fuck is happening?
There is tens of dollars in here. Tens of dollars in here.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, and then he does the whole thing where he's like, "Yeah, I was gonna have it cleaned up before he got home." Like, there's no fucking way. I would have sat down on my couch after the party and went, "I'm fucked." Like, there's no way.
Just don't come
Might as
home.
well light a match.
Please. Listen, I'll say the
Commit a
trouble
little
for both
insurance
of us.
fraud.
Exactly. He just call her at work. Like, listen, just get a hotel. What?
Right?
Just do
Like,
it.
don't
Don't even
ask
fucking worry
questions.
about it. Just get a fucking
It'll
hotel.
be cleaned in the next 24 hours.
If you
Because
ever
if you come
told
home,
me
we're going to
that,
get a divorce.
I would come home.
No,
Actually,
she already
no, I think
had
I'm
that
just gonna
divorce
do-
plan.
Yeah,
It was
probably.
already in the
Yeah.
cards.
I'm
gonna
pretty
do that.
sure it was already in the
I'm
air.
gonna do that out of the blue. I'm just gonna call you at work. Dear, just don't come home. Like, why? Like, what happened? Like, just don't. Just for your own mental safety, just don't come home. But it'll be nothing's wrong. I just want to sit there.
You'd have the police at your door because I'd call dispatch. Yeah.
I was making a hot pocket. What the fuck you people want?
And so they get into an argument when she gets home. You know, they get into like a blowout. Daniel is like blowing up more than she is, and I'm like, where are you standing right now? Because it's
Right?
he's like throwing in her
I
face
guess
that she's
the
never
nerve.
home. She never sees the kids and all
Dude,
that shit.
like-
She's like, you just had a fucking circus at our house. Like,
Seriously,
What are you
what bills are you paying to talk to me like that right now?
Yeah.
I don't
Sir?
like. I'm telling you, like this. The way these two fight was like my mom and dad. I was like, God, this is like reliving my childhood. So exciting.
I get it.
But yeah,
Like, I get it that she's never home because that's my biggest thing. Like, I want to be home with my kids. I quit working night shift at my job because I never saw them. They were in bed before I woke up for work, and then I didn't get to see them before they went to school. I had to drop them off at my sister's house so I could get sleep. The two youngest weren't in school at this time. So I'm like, I never get to see my kids. So like that hit home because like I want to see my kids. I would rather be home to see my kids than have a clean house.
Well, that's also very true, but she probably has to do all of those extra hours and
And
work all extra
'Cause he
hard.
keeps
because she's
exactly.
got this
So I
husband.
get why she's mad at him.
yeah.
Oh,
he
yeah.
doesn't have. Yeah, he does not have much of a leg to stand
No,
on that
he's
guy.
just trying.
He
He's
really
just
doesn't.
spitballing anything he thinks is
Yeah.
going to,
Like,
give him
he
a
So
leg
knows
up.
that's
get
going to
why
make her
she's
feel
mad.
bad. That's why he
Yeah.
says it.
And he's like yelling at her. I was like, damn, I don't.
Yeah.
I always viewed this in a different light when I watched this as a kid. I always was on his side. Like, no,
Yeah.
Mhm.
fuck, I don't
Yeah,
know.
but-
They can't get divorced. And now I'm like,
He
damn,
has,
yeah,
like,
get the
no-
divorce because
Swear.
clearly he is not
He
going to
has no
change.
Oh,
Arg-
yeah.
When
Argument
you find out
against
later,
her.
he's not even good in bed. So
Oh, I
Oh,
know.
I missed
Everything
that
else.
one. Okay.
you didn't.
Yeah. No.
Oh,
Mrs.
was that-
Doubtfire asked her.
Oh,
Okay.
that's right. Yeah.
Mrs. Doubtfire asked her like an idiot. So how
I
was
know.
he on a
You
scale
know
of
you
1
don't
to
wanna
10?
know.
Do not ask
he
this
don't
question,
Never
ever
ask
Daniel.
this question.
He calls her out later, like telling him about her toy that she
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Stu. Yeah.
Power
hell, like-
tool.
stop it.
You stop it. You don't shame her for that.
Yes.
dude,
Who
you
knows
gotta
if
have
she
one.
even has one? She
She
Well,
probably
just because
doesn't.
he wasn't
Scare
hitting
him
all
off.
four corners doesn't mean that she's got the problem.
Right.
She ain't got no
Four
problems now.
corners. I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So Daniel's got to stay with his brother Frank, and I love it where he's on the phone with the mom. And this is exactly how I am. It's like somebody's on. If my brother's on the phone, my mom will be like, "Hey, mom wants to talk to you." Be like, "No,
Like,
no,
Oh, he
No.
just stepped
Run
out.
away.
She said if you want, you could come
stay with her." No,
No.
it's okay. My mom doesn't listen to the show, so she'll never hear that.
Doesn't
So
either, so it's okay.
I think they go a little harsh on Daniel in the court both times, even after he gets caught being Mrs. Doubtfire.
I agree with that.
Yeah, it's literally he gets 1 day a week, which I guess is better than what
Well,
my dad got when my parents got divorced.
And to send a court liaison to your house twice a week when your
Yeah.
kids aren't even there
Yeah.
to check
Yeah,
on
that
you,
was a
like
little much.
no, that's
and that
weird.
was a decent apartment.
Yeah, that was a
There
nice
was
size
nothing wrong
apartment
with the
once he
apartment.
cleaned
Like
it
she
up.
kind of had a nerve to be judging his apartment that he had to get on kind of short notice in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she
He's like,
shows
I
up
know
at like
he's
7:30 at night. Who shows up that late?
Well, and they don't
Seriously.
need to order custody like that until it
No.
becomes a thing. Like they could have just agreed to
She
terms.
asked for that.
Yeah, she had to have asked for primary custody because the
Yeah.
judge won't just like
oh, I decided that this wasn't whatever.
Isn't what? Yeah,
because it's very, very, very clear that he loves his children, and
right.
his children love
the children's
him,
not the problem,
and whatever, and they specifically want to be with their
yeah,
father.
they'd rather be with
They
him.
would rather be with their father. So some of that is her kind of being a square about it. Like,
yeah,
she's
well,
mad
she
at him.
says, yeah, I was pissed, so
Yeah,
she just kind of
but I
let
mean,
it
like,
go.
still, that you probably shouldn't go through
Yeah,
someone's kids to hurt them.
Yeah, because even when they have the
And
conversation earlier, like when they talk about getting the divorce, she doesn't seem like she's angry about what was going on, but she didn't seem like super like heated, like where she was gonna literally like stab him in the back. Like she's like, I'm gonna take your children from you. Haha. Where it was like, I didn't feel that before from her. I didn't feel like that was the right way to go.
Yep.
But then the way she shows up to pick them up from that first visit,
I know.
Awful.
drops them off an hour late, comes for them an hour early, and just honks the horn.
Yes, I don't know who you're honking at, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am, it is my
Like, that's
fucking
what he's
visit.
saying. Like, you're on my time.
Yeah,
Like, she has
and then
no
she
right.
just walks in. She don't knock or nothing. She just barges
this is
in.
not your apartment. It's not
She
your
does
house.
have some nerve.
And then she goes,
really
are my
does.
kids ready? And he goes,
Yes,
our kids
children
aren't ready.
Are not ready. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that was not right.
A massive.
And so yeah, she
not
did
right.
paint herself out to be, when he was telling her, you do it to yourself, you're good at.
She does.
She does prove right there in that scene, especially.
Kids want him to be around, and all it would have taken, I feel like, at least, all right, we'll try it. I don't want to see you. I don't want you to have you like in my house when I'm here. You're gone. When
right,
you know, whatever. If they want to come here after school, that's fine.
Yeah.
One barnyard animal.
In my house, you can have barnyard animals.
Yeah, if you
want to
have barnyard animals in your
house.
apartment, that's your house. That's
Yeah.
your whatever. But you fuck with my schedule again. You have the neighbor calling me again.
Right.
And that's it. We're not doing it anymore.
The 7th annual live stream for The Cure is almost here, and I hear you asking, if you're hearing my voice, what is the live stream for The Cure and who are you? Well, I'm Nick. I'm the host of the event every single year, and we're a streaming telethon of sorts where podcasters and content creators from around the world come together every single May to help us raise money for the Cancer Research Institute. 100% of our proceeds go to immunotherapy research, to a world immune to cancer. And this year, I'm even more thrilled that we're going to be taking part in the Cancer Research Institute's Crush Cancer event. Join me starting May 17th for a special kickoff event, and then tune in May 18th through the 20th for dozens of amazing guests from around the world putting on tons of fun content, all to raise money for cancer research. To learn more or make an early donation, please visit livestreamforthecure.com. Together, we can make a difference.
But yeah, it seemed very harsh because it wasn't like he put the kids in danger.
No, they weren't.
It wasn't like he was a bad dad or a neglectful dad. So there was no reason to give him only one day a week, and not even an overnight.
I know.
Not even like a spend the night.
It was a Saturday.
Saturday. So like all of Saturday.
Yeah.
I guess, but like
just long enough to get some Chinese food. That she was like, oh,
it was brand new. It's from
like they went out and got it. Like
not out of the
fridge.
Seriously, she was making a big
very
old
judgy.
scene. She really was in her little southwestern.
Oh, I love that when he's like, "What's up, Dances with Wolves?"
Yes,
or whatever
when
he
he
said.
shops with
Your
a
Dances
fist.
with Wolves motif.
Yeah.
The thing that pissed me off about that scene was when she comes in and he goes, "You're an hour early," and then she's like pushing him to get them ready because she has to go do. Then go fucking do it and then
like,
come back in an hour.
Go do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Go run your errands.
I'm
come
so
back. They'll be
confused.
here. They'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about keeping around the kids.
Yeah.
You gotta go
Or
quicker.
leaving him home alone.
Yeah.
I did not like this. Was Miranda in this scene was the worst. Like I feel like she changes so much going forward. It's like this scene just seems so out of place for her character because when she asks for the divorce, she doesn't seem like she's going to be like that. And then she totally just fucks him over and then treats him like shit. Like you guys kind of had a pretty civil conversation, even though Daniel didn't want the divorce, you kind of had a somewhat of a civil conversation about it.
Right.
I don't know.
I feel like you could have come to some sort of like regular agreement.
Yeah.
Like I don't think either of them were that unreasonable.
When I could see he didn't have a job and he didn't have a place at first, so I can see just saying like the court saying, okay, well until you get a job and a place, she's gonna have primary custody and it's gonna be up to her if it's appropriate for you to have the kids and where you have the kids. But once you have a job in a house, come back and talk to us.
He says I want to
We'll do 50-50.
reevaluate because I think that both parents should be part of this whole thing because it's not like he put him in danger. It's not like he's a danger to these children. He's not a drunk.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
But she tells him in that moment, right? Is it right then where she tells him she's going to get a housekeeper? She's got the ad.
Yes,
Yeah.
she's got the ad that
And he
she has
changes
to go
the
to
number.
the newspaper. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has to go to the newspaper.
I
and
loved
drop
all
off the
his
ad.
phone calls. His phone calls to
my
her and the
God.
different characters.
So good.
Yes.
Some of those made me laugh out loud.
Yes, those were pretty funny. Like, get the hose!
Yes, it's just like, get back in your cage.
Get back in your cage! I'll get the hose!
I
Just click.
am Jub. Do you speak English?
I job!
am Jub.
I feel
The
like
southern
that
one
was
where
in my
he
head
just
as a
yells.
kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
What
so
was the
good.
name of the band? Severe tire damage.
Oh,
I got this
yes.
band, severe tire
Are
damage.
your kids gonna need a whacking or whatever
Yeah,
she says?
yeah.
Like,
stomping
they need a good
everyone, a
stomping.
light stomping every
Yeah.
once in a while.
I do want to mention though that there was the scene before where, you know, the kids are kind of accepting the fact that Daniel has to move out of the house, and I'm guessing it's Miranda's mom is the one that's standing up on the thing.
Yeah,
and,
Yeah.
and Nat is like, Grandma skips all the good parts in Stuart Little, and she smells weird. And he goes, yeah, that's the formaldehyde. That's what keeps her alive.
Yeah.
She clearly
She's so
hears
well
them.
preserved.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
tell by
Yeah.
her face she heard that.
Thanks for the
And
time,
I mean, like,
Warden.
that whole scene is really
Yes, it's
sad.
so
Like, I
good.
guess, like, Miranda wouldn't want to be there because he's getting the rest of his stuff
Right.
Yeah.
out of the house. And he, like, took the family car. He took, like, the kid mobile, the big old station
Yeah,
wagon.
true. Well, but she doesn't drive that junky car. She had
she's-
a nicer
Yeah.
car.
Well,
didn't
no,
she?
She's
she
got
had
that
what was
Volvo.
Jetta?
Yep. She
Was it a
Yeah,
Jetta or
Volvo.
was it a
Yeah, it's a
Volvo?
very
Yeah.
safe.
The
It's a very
Volvo.
safe car. I think it's a Volvo.
Yeah, it was a Volvo.
But that whole
Fancy
scene was
red.
really very sad.
Oh,
Yeah.
the him leaving with his stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
like
was.
those
Yeah.
I got a
kids,
tear
like-
in my eye.
Those kids are devastated.
Yeah, and
That
so
not
she's just
only-
making herself out to be an asshole.
I know,
with
she's
all
really-
that.
Yeah, you're not winning any favors with your
Nope.
kids, especially because she wants to get a housekeeper. The kids specifically ask,
Can't dad
"Can't
just
Dad
do it?
do it?
No, I'm a
No.
housekeeper.
I want a housekeeper.
You could
I
do
want a
it.
housekeeper."
Yeah, for literally, and he states it before. He's like, you could have just had me do it and not had to pay anybody, but yet you're paying somebody $300
Well, I mean,
a week.
maybe if you would have been doing it before,
I
Daniel,
mean,
I wouldn't have had to divorce you.
He did
That's very
way step
true.
up his game. He earned that $300 a week.
He
That's-
did.
Between putting
He
on
did.
the fucking costume and
That's
cooking and
true.
cleaning, he was actually a housekeeper.
a week
In
in heavy
1990
latex.
In 1990 though, or
That's
1992, 300 a week was pretty good
That's
back then.
true.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
On top of
That's
his
true.
job he's doing already. So dual income
But it
right there.
Yeah, because he already has that job.
And a fat suit and a latex mask and a wig.
And why did he choose heels? You could have chose flats. You were a man. You didn't have
Well,
to wear
those
heels.
were like orthopedic.
But still, get them nurse shoes. Get them
Ooh,
orthopedic
those
flats.
sneaky nurse
He does
shoes.
wear
Oh,
he
yeah.
does wear like nurse style shoes when he's playing soccer with Chris later, like when they're doing the
Yeah,
montage.
So just wear those all the
I
time.
Yeah,
know, why
right?
wouldn't you? You're an old lady.
I do
And
love
he
that he
could've picked
recognizes the
pants.
misogyny of heels.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna find the bastard that invented heels and kill him.
Yeah, like wear pants.
Yes. more
Right?
pants.
So much wool.
I
so
know
much
this is
meat.
California. It's like, what are we doing?
Well, it's San Francisco. It's
And
like,
why a
Why
bra
are you
over
in
the
so many
fat suit?
layers?
Those titties weren't going nowhere.
Yeah,
There
the
was no
No.
nipples on them titties.
No,
You could've
You
just
didn't need
left
the
it.
bra over top.
It's
that's
just
an
extra
extra
layers
layer you don't need.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Nobody wants to wear a bra
And then why the stockings that are roll up to your thigh? Like those
because
are...
you have to cover like
Because
all
they
of
were just
that
so
he
fur.
his hair.
Well, no, I mean, like, why not just
Oh, well,
actual
yeah.
pantyhose? Like that was when he had him sliding down and shit. Those were old school.
Well, I mean, I guess you want to be able to go to the bathroom. He's got like the
Oh,
suit
that's
and
true.
the
He doesn't wanna have to
whatever.
take
Like
that
he
off
just
every
wants
Oof,
to
time.
that's gotta be
pull it
rough.
to the side.
yeah.
I want to know how that whole scene
Hold it
happened
up.
when he gets caught later, and you're like, the suit
Yeah,
is
like,
all
How
one
did he
piece,
see it
right?
all?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Like he was like he's got everything.
It must
like, I
snap
think
in the
he
crotch
just-
like a bodysuit.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
what I was
so
thinking.
He
it's
just
a
guessed.
bodysuit.
He just
Yes.
was like,
Yeah.
yeah, probably.
Yeah, I
He had an
think he just
evacuation
guessed. I don't
port.
think he.
It's got a
I
little,
don't think he
little
really
hole.
saw everything. Lock
I
the
mean-
doors, Mrs.
Oh,
Doubtfire.
What if instead of a butt flap, like those one pajamas, he had a front flap?
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go.
It's
like,
That could've
maybe.
been.
It just rolls out.
Maybe.
We didn't even need a flap. Just pull it to the side and whip it out.
Yeah, he just pulled it to the side.
My
There's
God.
gotta be some,
That's
gotta
what
be
the
some pinching
tucking's
there,
before.
though.
That's why you don't want to have the full.
Yeah.
That's why you tuck.
pantyhose.
Yeah, but when you're
But I
pulling,
love when he
Sorry,
goes.
tuck. Oh God, I hope he wasn't tucking.
If
when
you've
he
seen
goes to
that
ask
dude's
his brother for the
legs,
suit.
he's got a fucking bramble bush down there. There's no way in
I
hell it's just
know.
pulling to the side. You rip half it
Oh.
off.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, as hairy as Robin Williams was.
Sasquatch levels.
So
Exactly.
Yes.
He had more hair
know,
on every part of his body than Pierce Brosnan had on just his chest and stomach.
Right?
Just saying.
Just that little bit. Well,
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
also wondered, like, how did they not realize his hands? Like, was he shaving?
He must
his
have
He
been
did.
shaving.
He
'cause
shaved
had
his
hairy
hands. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had to have.
Because he was,
Well, and then
very,
you didn't
very
notice
hairy
that when
man.
you're over for your Saturday night dinner, you didn't notice that hairy ass dad all of a sudden had clean shaven backs of
Yeah.
his hands and wrists.
He's always wearing gloves.
That wasn't a weird thing.
Yeah.
Dad, why do you have
Right?
gloves on all the time? What's going on?
That's weird.
I
have a
feel like the
condition.
5-year-old
Dad?
for sure would have been like,
I feel like the 5-year-old would have noticed that was her father.
I feel like all of the
I
children
feel like
all
all
of
them
noticed that
should
was
have
their
noticed. I feel
father.
like-
All of
Because
them.
like you were saying
But they
earlier,
were
that's not an
trying-
accusation you make without being sure.
Yeah.
So they
But
were
still,
trying
like-
to keep her from freaking out about it, but she was like the one that was most like, Dad?
accepting
Like-
about the whole
Yeah.
thing.
She's like,
oh.
oh, it's my dad. Like, okay.
Well, they didn't want her, I don't think it was that they didn't want her to freak out. They thought she would
No.
blow it.
Yeah,
That
Yeah,
she
she-
would
they
immediately
didn't want
say
her to
something.
tell.
thinking about it. Yeah.
I don't think she would have. I'd have been like,
She
Okay,
might have
this
been
is
the
cool.
best out of all of them. Well, it was none of
I mean,
the
the kids
didn't
fault,
blow
no,
it,
none
yeah.
of
It
them.
was
Yeah.
Daniel who blew it
Just getting
himself.
wasted.
Yeah.
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 He had so much alcohol.
Dude, he
that
did
was a
like
lot.
4
6.
scotches.
Oh my God, it was so much.
Well, no, three double scotches, and then he was having white wine at
Yep.
the table.
Yeah.
Whew.
He was
So-
hammered.
I mean, I would have blown it myself.
Yeah. Well, he should never have agreed to that nonsense. That was
No.
No.
Foolishness.
It's dumb as fuck, dude.
Foolishness.
What are you doing?
I don't
Yeah,
care
but
how
I'm like,
cute that
what the
fucking
hell?
kid is. You say no.
Yeah. Like, this is a
Oh
big opportunity.
boy.
Right.
I'm not even on
This could
page
get
2
my
of my
kids
notes yet.
back. I know.
Well, it's all right. We're already at the end anyway. So just
Yeah.
keep going.
So
I
Dan-
mean,
I know.
whatever,
I'm just
like-
skipping through. I'm
Like,
skipping
have
through.
y'all seen Mrs. Doubtfire? Y'all seen Mrs.
yeah,
Come on
you've
now,
got to see
right?
Mrs.
Been
And,
out
like,
Doubtfire.
forever.
you've seen it, right?
We watched. We're the Cliff Notes version of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, the dancing montage. You can't leave out the cleaning the house dancing
yeah.
montage.
Oh, absolutely
I love
not.
that
No,
part
that's
with
coming.
the
That's
little
coming.
lady.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So Daniel meets with Mrs. Sellner. This is where you get to, he shows off his skills of doing all the voices. And I love the fact where she goes, do you find yourself humorous, Mr. Hillard? And he goes, I used to, but you proved me wrong.
Right. Until today, I thought I was.
He ends up getting a job at I'm guessing at a studio. It's the studio he ends up working at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He thought he was going to be brought in as an actor, but he ends up being kind of a stock guy. He pretty much just, he's boxing up and shipping out film. His boss is a dick to him. There's actually a deleted scene that goes a little bit farther where he's like, oh, I thought I was going to be an actor in this. He's like, oh yeah, I used to be an actor too. And then they have this back and forth, and then he's just like, yeah, box him up, asshole, and then walks away. And he's like, I guess I made a friend.
Oh.
Mhm.
So Miranda meets with Stu to go over a design, but the whole time he's just flirting with her. He wants nothing to do with doing interior design work. He just wants to
Yeah.
get into Miranda's pants.
Well, they went to college together, right? Like
Yeah.
So
they knew
they
each
seemed
other
like
before.
they dated in college,
Right.
but
Yeah.
like lightly.
They definitely had a history.
Like-
Lightly dated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some light petting.
There was some flirting in college. or
over the
something.
shirt.
Just
Over
the
the-
tip.
over the shirt.
There was
They did
some
not
over the
get that
shirt.
second
There was some
base.
grinding. What?
No. Yeah.
Over the shirt, over the panties.
Yeah. But yeah, she definitely gets
Crack-
all flustered when he's in the
I know,
office.
like, ooh, Stu.
Crack-
She just
Ooh.
she like deflects. Like she just
Yeah.
keeps talking about fabrics and shit.
I know.
And
And he's like,
no,
so,
no.
how are
No.
you? Like, let's
have
have
dinner."
dinner. Let's hang out.
Yeah.
She's trying not to, but she can't resist.
Oh, I mean,
And then she tells him she's getting divorced. Oh,
And he's like,
that's
"Jackpot!"
yeah.
jackpot.
I mean,
right. He's after that.
And he
hot
must
Sally
really
Field.
like her because it's not like he's some rich hot guy. It's not like he can't just find a woman. Like
I
he's
know.
just apparently really
'Cause,
still
like,
thinks about her and
You
wants
find out
to-
like there's really nothing wrong with Stu.
No,
Like,
he's a nice
not,
guy.
Yeah, like there's really nothing
he's
wrong
nice to
with Stu.
those kids.
Yeah.
He likes
Daniel,
those
and
kids.
even when he's talking to his friend, like
Yeah, he
away
says
from
nice
everybody,
stuff.
he says nice stuff about the kids.
Yep.
Like nobody was listening.
Yeah, he just called
No, as
Daniel
far
a
as he knew.
loser, and that's what pissed him
that's
off.
Daniel.
Yeah,
Daniel's
yeah.
kind of a loser.
as,
I mean,
as the mom's new boyfriend, of course.
of course
that's
he's
Yeah.
gonna come. Well, of course she made him out to seem
Right.
probably like a bigger loser.
Oh,
than he
yeah,
really
absolutely.
Was
Yeah.
too. So I mean, he said nice things. Like there wasn't nothing wrong with Stu. Daniel
Mm-mm.
just hated him because he was moving in on his family. Well, his family.
Yeah,
not
his whole
necessarily
family.
just his woman.
So the kids hang out at the apartment. We've already talked about most of the scene, but I do want to mention the fact that Lydia is just a dick to Daniel. She's like, "You're not even trying, Dad." I was like,
trying what? We went fucking court.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do?
Well, she was at that age. She was supposed to be
true.
what, like 14 or
well,
something?
I mean,
Yeah.
like, and why wasn't she a dick like that to Stu then? Why wasn't she a dick like that to Mom's new boyfriend if she was going to be a dick to anybody?
You'd think she would be. Wasn't she? She didn't.
She
when
liked
they
her
first
dad.
met- No, but I mean, when they first
Oh.
met him, wasn't she kind of resistant to
Yes.
Stu or no?
No,
no,
not
no,
really.
no.
Yeah?
was she?
She was
Not really.
resistant
Like, she
to
wasn't,
Mrs.
like,
she was
rude to
resistant to
him.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
To Mrs.
When she shows up,
and
not to
that's
Stu.
what it was.
You don't really get like
Okay.
a
No,
first
like, she was-
impression with Stu. It's I think they've
No.
already known him for a bit, like he had already met them. You don't get to see that scene, or you just don't get to
Yeah,
see
it's
that
They're
kinda
all
interaction.
hanging out in the living room
Because
with
they've
all the
even
kids.
already done the pool side thing when they go out and he says it's their first date, and I'm like, oh, all of that wasn't
Her
dating.
first
Like
date
that
with
you
Right.
the
brought,
kids, maybe.
or
Yeah.
the first time she was going out without when she was picking the dress,
Oh yes, yes.
and they were saying it was her first date, and I'm like, you guys done been hanging out, and he invited you and all your kids
Well,
to
maybe
the
this
dang
is
country
like
club.
yeah, I guess. Well, maybe it was like their first date
I guess.
Yeah.
together or whatever. I don't know. It was a run-by fruiting kid.
Oh,
The terrorist
God.
or someone from the kitchen. Did you not tip him?
so I work with this lady who I pointed this out last night or while we were watching this. I'm like, it's your line. She always says drive-by fruiting. And that just makes me think that somebody has come and, crop dusted and then I watched this and I was like, I do not remember that line. And I was like, I heard your line. And she's like, which line? And I'm like, I told her and she's like, I didn't even know I got it from that movie. And I'm like, there's so many things that you say that come from movies that you do not realize.
It's
That's
so
so
part
cool.
of the
And I love
zeitgeist, I
it.
guess.
Yeah, I like texted her. I was like, I heard it.
So yeah, Daniel calls about the housekeeper job. He finally comes up with Mrs. Doubtfire. He gets it out of an article in the newspaper. It says that like firefighters like doubt fire or something like that.
they
That's how he
doubt
comes up with the name.
He
And
did not think well enough ahead to come up with a name
Yeah.
before he called with like the
I know.
persona that he was going to go with.
and he comes up with the
Right.
hardest
Daniel.
name possible. Like, I mean, Doubtfire's not that hard, but was it Euphigenia is her first name? Like,
Yeah.
where did that come from?
Euphigenia. I mean, I do like
Yeah.
that name. It's fun to say.
Effie.
Euphigenia. Effie. I'm surprised he remembered Doubtfire. Like he would have showed up and said something else. Like,
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Hope he wrote it down.
What did I just say? What did I just? That would be me.
Shit.
Like, what did I just tell her?
Write it,
my
write it
name
down,
was?
guys. So yeah, so he comes up with the character. He goes to his brother, who you find out is like a makeup artist. He does like prosthetics and stuff like that. And yeah, so that's
Make
not
me a
how-
woman.
Oh,
yeah,
honey, I'm
I
so
love it.
happy.
I love that scene. That's so funny.
it's so great.
Love the whole montage of
Th-
this.
Yes, this montage
Great.
is my favorite.
And he looks
the
too
drag
much
montage.
like Barbara Streisand.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Yes.
god.
Yes, it's so
Scary.
good. Which as a kid did
Yeah.
not
I did-
realize that he was supposed to look like Barbara Streisand. I know that the song was a Barbara Streisand song, but I was like,
Yes,
Oh,
he
okay.
totally is giving Babs.
Yes.
And the thing with like the yent. Oh, but look at this thing we've got here. Like matchmaker.
Yes.
Well, then
That
it
is,
doesn't
there's
make sense.
that was no way that was fucking scripted. There's no
So
fucking
I don't
Right.
know.
way.
This was
I'm
all.
sure.
It had to have been.
It was all just messing around.
I
So-
was like, I look like Bubby.
And he says it's almost too good. Any closer, you'd look like mom.
Like, wouldn't you just
but
do
so
that? at-
Sally Field doesn't notice he looks just like his mother.
yeah, right?
He's two shades away of looking like his mom.
Any closer, and you'd be mom.
Yeah.
Like apparently
Oh.
he never met his family.
She might
Right.
not.
So-
I do
In
love the
14
Cuban.
years.
Right. I do love
Yeah.
the Cuban in the beginning. They'll go bless you.
Do you think that this is
I
going to
meant-
scare the children?
Yeah, the children.
Got the
Yeah, I
dog
met
nails.
this
Nails well.
So
beautiful Cuban. It's so beautiful with him. That one's perfect.
So I guess Robin Williams didn't actually know the lyrics to the songs he was singing. It was Harvey Firestein and the actor who played Jack who taught him the lyrics so they could do that scene.
Oh God.
Nice.
He did good though.
But the funniest thing is the fact that he is able to quickly change from Mrs. Doubtfire to Daniel by just taking this mask off and then putting it back on, when in reality it took 4.5 hours to do that.
Yeah.
To do his whole look.
That's why I was like, there's no way.
You can't just slap
You
that
can't
on your
just
face.
take it
in
off
2
and put
days.
it back on. Like that's
And it wasn't even like
skin.
it wasn't even like an actual
Not
mask that goes
over the
behind his head.
head,
It was
yeah.
like,
No, it was like a
what, he
piece.
glue
had
it?
to be
You have to like
glued.
glue it to his face? How does that stay?
Yes, that is
So
an
I-
accident waiting to happen.
Yeah.
I have done special effects makeup. It's not like just a few seconds. It's
No.
it's a
Let
process.
me ask my good friend Joe Lascola. He might be able to tell me. He does that
It's a
stuff.
process. It is not just a few
I
seconds.
don't know why I looked at my hand like I had a watch
did
on.
Did you fall in the toilet or something?
Yeah, so the kids meet Mrs. Doubtfire for the first time, and it goes swimmingly. All the kids are like, Lydia's very standoffish. Chris
course.
doesn't really know what the hell's going on, and Nat's just kind of like, okay, sure. He's a 5-year-old
charmed.
kid. Yeah,
She's like, she's gonna read me Stuart
Yay.
Little Red. I'm
oh,
here for
Stuart
that.
Little, I love Stuart. I'm not even going to attempt
the
doing the voice.
stupid creature in all of literature. I don't know. I sound
The
like the
part
leprechaun. The
that broke my-
leprechaun.
Leppy Boy shows up in this
I
movie.
know. I
Warwick
know.
Davis, what are you doing here?
Oh shit! Wrong movie.
When he first leaves and Natalie's like, we're not through with the book that you're reading.
Oh, I know.
Like-
that was so heartbreaking.
I was like,
Yeah.
man,
Her
see,
little
It's heartbreaking.
face.
like my
Ugh.
kids are all old enough to read, and my daughter's reading us stories now, and I'm like, man, I remember reading you guys books.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the hardest part of him leaving.
Right. She's so cute.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
We get our first meeting with the bus driver, which I love the bus driver. He's great.
I know. He's the only true victim in this whole thing.
Yeah,
He's
what do you-
like the sweetest little man. I'm just so sad for him. Like, I want to go back in time and take the bus driver out to dinner. Just hang out with him a little bit because, like right afterwards, he never found out what happened and then he died of loneliness.
On TV.
So there is
Oh.
there is a deleted scene that actually she tells him that she's a man.
Oh no! Was he
Because
heartbroken?
he invites her to a VFW dance.
Oh
Because his
God!
wife he tells a story about how his wife died like 4 or 5 years ago, and
I'm so glad they cut this.
Yeah, he invites her to this dance, and she goes, yeah, so I'm a man, and he's like, oh. And he like doesn't react like super like offended or anything. He's just like, oh, okay.
Well, he's a bus driver in San Francisco. I mean,
he's
I'm
like,
sure he goes to the Castro.
Yeah, he's like, whatever. Okay.
All right. Well, thanks
guess cool.
for considering. Yeah, I guess I'll.
And he
die now.
Yeah, I think, and I mean, I get why they delete a lot of scenes because they just kind of drag things
for
out
time
too much
and whatever.
But I think it was nice because he kind of lets him down nice. He's like, I don't want to disappoint you. Even if you do accept, that I'm a man, who cares? But I just want to let you know.
Maybe let's go out for some coffee or something. Like, I don't know. He just he was really lonely, and it made me very sad.
And
Well,
I always
this will
thought
make
this
you
first
happy.
meeting was when he discovers that he has the hairy legs,
Yes,
but it's not. It's the next
Yeah.
Oh,
one.
it isn't.
It's the next
that's
one when
funny.
he gets on there.
Oh,
So
he's just
this
like,
will
I hope
make
you have
you-
somewhere warm to go home to, or
Yep,
whatever.
yeah.
This is the first time. Yeah.
So this will make you feel even worse. He died
no.
not even a year after this movie came out.
No.
Oh, well, I mean, at least he knew that he wasn't really trying to hit on an old. So, I mean, I guess he knew it was a job, right? Like, he wasn't like, didn't have like.
This is a movie,
This
right?
is a
This
movie,
is a
right?
film.
He
She's talking
died.
about the real life person died,
I know.
not the bus driver.
No, but I'm saying at least it's not like he didn't know that he was making a movie. I know he was making a movie, but because he was old, I mean, like, I'm sure
When
he
you're,
knew
like,
he
all
was.
sad, he died. Like, oh no, he died, thinking that he was still in love with Mrs.
No.
Doubtfire.
Come on now.
I
He was the character.
No, I know. That's what I'm
Your
saying. At
face
least he
the
didn't
entire time she's
die.
talking, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I was like,
What?
I'm like, no.
This is
no,
the
at
real
least
dude.
He didn't die thinking that
he lives.
Like, at least he didn't die actually lonely. That's what
Oh God, that's great.
I didn't think he
Was
really
was he
thought
married
about
when he died?
I don't
Like-
know. I didn't look into
Oh,
him too
God.
much.
No.
I didn't.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
Yeah.
say anything about him having family.
Angela, you know how this show goes.
I-
I do very minimal research.
I just figured he wasn't.
I have him
still
pulled
alive.
up.
Yeah.
He was born in 1921.
There's
So-
no
Wow.
way he'd still be living.
So Mrs. Sellner shows up at the house at like midnight because that's normal. And
Yeah.
of course his house is not, it's in rough shape. You know, things are thrown everywhere. And of course he's Mrs. Doubtfire at this moment. So he has to pretend like Mrs. Doubtfire is his sister. So he's got to keep like flip-flopping. And of course he says the dumbest shit. He's like, yes, my sister makes the greatest cup of tea. And of course she's like, oh, I would love a cup of tea. He's like, you idiot.
And it's English
Why would
tea.
she? Yeah.
It's not
Why would
even
she even
regular.
say-
Like,
I know, like it's regular tea. Like he even has it in his apartment. He doesn't know whether he has it or not. But why would he even say he knows Daniel?
Yeah.
It's apartments.
Well,
It could
because
just
he
be
said
an
her
old-
name without thinking. As soon as he saw her, he was like,
that-
whatever. And then she's
Shit,
like, do
that's
I
right.
know you? And,
Oh,
fuck.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Daniel's sister.
Bad choices. Bad choices.
So of course he gets out of the outfit, then he's got to go back into it, and of course he has the mask on like a mannequin head in the window, and you got two kids on the other side laughing at him as he's putting on the suit. I've been like, I mean, he shuts it, and for one, why are you exactly, but why are you putting the mannequin head in the window
Of
all places?
right?
Yeah, he shuts the blind, it hits
precarious.
the
why do
thing.
you have your windows open while
Yeah.
you're doing this?
Also
Yeah.
that.
And like, so you left your apartment with your window wide open because you just walked in the door and your window's
Also
wide
that.
open. I mean,
Yeah.
I know you're some floors up, but I'm sure there's fire escapes.
Sure.
You
I've
have
seen 'em.
neighbors that can see in your window. Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
Like, hey,
blinds
mind
on
your
our
business.
window.
You two little freaks.
And then what were they doing? Just like,
Just
what was
watching.
even funny about it?
Right?
Laughing.
'Cause
Look,
it's
a guy.
Yeah. Again.
I was like, we're in
Y'all
San
never seen
Francisco. This is
before?
normal. What are you
Yeah,
talking
like,
about?
Right?
This is like a thing that happens.
Jesus.
I feel like this is not something new that happens.
No.
Yeah, I know. Like I don't know why you're surprised. Why are you acting brand new?
So of
I guess
course,
it's funny to watch him struggle.
yeah. So of course the mask it falls into the street. A garbage truck hits it. He's got to improvise. He stuffs his face into a cake, and so it was actually supposed to be harder, and it was actually supposed to stay on his face solid. But the set was so hot that wasn't planned. The whole dripping part.
Oh, I'm
So
sure.
he improvised
So
that whole
gross.
scene of him like, oh, there's another one
Like-
for you.
In my tea. Like I'm good. Thank
I love it when
Yeah.
she takes some of it and she just puts it on her face to try it as a moisturizer.
Right, she's talking about
Oh.
the meringue mask.
Yes.
Oh.
Originally, I guess it was supposed to be an avocado spread that he was supposed to put on his face, but he said it looked terrifying. So
Like a monster.
the meringue
He's
cake,
like,
it is.
Oh well,
I can see that.
yeah, I suppose. Well, it worked better with the tea.
And that's where we get like one of the most quotable lines of this movie, where he pokes his head up above the hello.
Hello. Yes.
I love it.
So yeah, he makes a strong first impression with the kids as Mrs. Doubtfire. He like pisses them all off. He throws the fucking TV remote in the fish tank.
Right.
They're watching The Outer Limits, which
Oh, they're
that
watching-
episode came out in 1963. I don't know, it was just a random fact I saw. But people, I guess,
Oh.
confused it with The Twilight Zone, I guess. But I want to clarify, it is an Outer Limits episode from 1963.
See
Oh,
that.
before they were watching Dick Van Dyke.
Oh yeah, no.
I was-
That is no, you're right. That is what they're watching in this scene. They're
Dick
watching
Van
Dick Van
Dyke.
Dyke because she
Before,
goes,
yeah,
"We
yeah.
always watch Dick Van Dyke." It's
Yeah,
later.
right.
It's that scene where they're showing like the
spreading
they do
the
spread
Yes,
their
okay,
face
yeah,
and stuff,
that
and they're
was-
like, "Ooh,
yeah,
what
yeah,
is
yeah.
that?" Yeah,
That
that's
one
an
was
Outer
Outer
Limits
Limits.
scene. Yeah,
I know. I was
you're
like,
right.
wait a
Yeah.
minute. Did I see a
Nope,
different cut?
nope, you're right. Yeah, I swear they watched like 5 things in this movie, and I couldn't place
Probably,
like, oh.
probably. But yes, because of the mask thing, they were doing the thing with the mask,
Yep.
and then they cut to the.
And I
Outer
felt like
Limits.
it was a weird choice for him to go so hard and so strict when he was the kind of dad that he was.
Probably because he
And
didn't
he
want to make it
wants to
obvious.
spend-
I'm
Yeah.
guessing.
Yeah,
right.
but like
It
you
was-
got hired as the housekeeper. Did you just put these kids to work?
Well, they didn't want to
You're
do
getting
anything,
paid.
so you're gonna
Couch.
do something,
Yeah,
reading the
you're getting
newspaper?
paid.
I mean,
You're
I'm
gonna do
gonna prop
something.
my feet up and drink
right?
coffee.
Well, that's why they were so
Mhm.
interested in doing their homework, because now instead of that, you're either gonna have to. Although, really, whatever, Mrs. Doubtfire, I still ain't doing shit. I'll just sit here and do nothing. Then, how about that?
Well, and I don't think they were those kind of kids. It was just like she
Well-
literally could have just let them finish the Dick Van Dyke and say, "Okay," and then you have to go up and do your homework. And I'm pretty sure they would have just stopped watching TV
mean,
and gone up and
probably,
done
like,
their
yeah.
homework.
Nope.
She's
God.
making
I
him
wanted to-
scrub the walls. I don't even remember the
Yeah,
last time I
a
scrubbed
clean
my own
wall.
walls. Like, what the
The
fuck are you talking
baseboard.
about?
Yeah.
No, I would have been the oldest.
Wait,
I would've
people
been
clean their
talking
baseboards?
back.
Oh shit.
Like really.
I don't know.
After watching this movie, I actually went and looked at our baseboards. I'm
Oh,
like,
mine are
"Man,
gross.
maybe
I have 3 kids, so
Oh,
it's
shameful.
understandable. I'm not impressing anybody. I don't give a
Shameful.
fuck. So
But I would
No
not be
one's coming
scrubbing the
over.
doors.
Mrs. Doubtfire's got to cook. She does, and Daniel does not know how to cook very well, so he's trying to look through the cookbook, sets his titties on fire, and
Oh yeah.
just pat him out. And he's got to order some food, and I love it when the guy shows up and it's like $135 or something like that for the food. It was like $20 extra per meal to get there faster. I was like,
Right.
what?
We all
That's
pointed
DoorDash
that out.
for
Yes, DoorDash at the time. Ridley actually pointed that out. He's like, that's a lot.
I knew it was a lot back then. I
And
looked
then
it
you
up.
looked it up and it was like $300. I was like,
Why are you ordering from the most expensive place in the city? Like, what are you doing?
get a
Because
McDonald's.
he
home
lied
cooked
himself into a corner. He
fancy.
lied himself into
That's
a corner.
true,
He was
yeah.
like, "Oh, I love some heavy cooking, dear."
And I would
And now-
guarantee that especially the littlest, if not also the middle child, is not eating whatever the hell that was.
No, they didn't eat
No,
that
absolutely
shit.
not. It's like
I
shrimp.
didn't see any chicken nuggies.
They looked all
That's
excited
right.
about it, like,
Right.
ooh,
I
but
just about said that. I'm like, man, I just eat chicken nuggets
Yeah.
and it'd be fine.
Right?
There-
There was no
he
nuggies
went
on that
overboard.
plate.
You know, I know how the whole thing went. After she left, like her
Mom, I'm hungry.
and the eldest are gonna eat it, and the other two are like, there's like
Yeah,
food and
seriously.
food.
Yeah.
Let's go make
Make a grilled
sandwich.
cheese.
Yeah,
Or
I
some
want a
dinosaur
PBJ.
nuggies.
I'm gonna go eat
Yes.
some mac and cheese.
Were there dinosaur
Kids
nuggets
cuisine.
in 1993?
Yes, kids cuisine, dude.
Yeah.
Ha! Kids cuisine.
That's right.
Ugh.
Kid cuisines are not good, but we thought they
No.
were.
Yeah.
Not like we thought they were.
No.
No. Like our kids love, for whatever reason, they are obsessed with TV dinners. And they're like, it's Sunday, and they're like, can we have microwave dinners? That's what they call them.
Like,
And
we
I'm
were
like,
poor as fuck. That was like normal food for us. This isn't like a fucking delicacy, bro. It's like, dude, I go there, like, listen, like, we go there and they get like whatever, you know, I'm like, oh, eldest get hungry, man. It's like, I'm like, they're getting like because I'm a cheap motherfucker. I get like the $1 Stouffer lasagna. I'm like, yeah, this is fucking good. I get like 2 or 3 of these. Like, this
they
is
want our youngest
Stouffer's
wants
lasagnas
wheels
are
and
good.
cheese.
They are, yes,
Heck
they
yes.
are.
They're
And,
very
and
good.
the Marie Callender
Marie
ones, like the
Callender's.
dollar ones. She wants the macaroni and wheels.
The wheels and cheese.
Wheels and
Yes.
cheese.
Hey,
They're
ain't
a
nothing wrong
dollar.
with that. That shit's good.
Microwavable mac and
Good.
cheese.
What if about it's
Yeah.
premium to our children? I was like, what?
Like growing up, that was not what I wanted to eat. Like, yeah, I would eat ramen day and night. But
Yep.
you give me a microwave dinner and I'm like,
Dude, well, because we're on this, I'm going to bring this up. Obviously, probably like most people, we grew up very poor, you know.
yeah.
And like I had a buddy when I was younger in middle school, and he was more well-to-do. Him and his family were, and he came over, and I made fucking ramen noodles one day, and he's like, "What are these?" I was like, "It's ramen noodles." He's like, "They're fucking delicious." Like, dude, it's ramen noodles.
I
Guess
know.
what?
Everybody
Guess
know what
what?
these are.
They're only
They are
35
delicious.
cents a package.
I know.
Yes, I know. And like the
This is
next,
crazy.
the next time I went to his house, there was like 2 fucking boxes of ramen. I was like,
Yeah.
like he'd never seen them or had them
Oh,
before. I was like,
God.
"What the fuck,
Great.
dude?" Anyway, derailed.
Ramen's great.
Derailed. What do you mean?
We grew up on that.
There's
And
there's
egg.
no straight line in this fucking show today.
Nope.
Fuck.
Nope.
We're everywhere.
Told you we're chaos agents.
We're Santa Claus.
Oh, it's awesome.
I knew what I knew what I was signing up for when I invite Dean Generation on the show.
If you used to listen to, what's his face that did all the, comedy songs?
Ray Stevens?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
those are good.
That's a good guess. That was a fucking. Oh fuck! The Streak, right? Was that from The Streak?
It was Santa Claus.
Was it not Santa
He
Claus?
was
I don't
Santa,
remember.
Santa Claus.
Well, I was thinking the episode of South Park where they made Slash out to be
No.
like Santa Claus. Like Slash isn't a real person; it's just everybody dressed up as Slash, the guitarist. It was, like,
Okay,
Santa
you-
Claus-like figure.
You have Ray Stevens that's over here, and then you have South Park that's
Yeah, but
way
it's just, you're talking
over
about Santa Claus,
there.
and that's the parallel. Yes. Anyway, go ahead.
So
Where
Lydia
are we at?
Lydia warms up to Mrs. Doubtfire after that whole thing, which is cool.
Was this a
And
joke
then-
about the flaming tits? Is that why you said warmed up?
What?
You said warm up. Is this you making a joke about the flaming tits, the scene before?
Sure. If that's how you want to take it.
I didn't know if this was supposed to be a pun. I mean,
She's like, she comes out there to be like, how are your titties doing right now? Because I saw them ablaze. Are you okay?
That smell horrible, by the way.
Oh yeah, they're made out of rubber.
That had to smell awful.
Oh, yeah.
And putting them out with the hot lids.
Did she just change?
Yeah.
Or, yeah, I mean, did he just change into a different outfit? Yeah.
Put her sweater, buttoned it up.
Mm-hmm.
This is when the bus driver hits on Mrs. Doubtfire, and you get the whole talk about how he likes the Mediterranean look. He's got very hairy
why I
legs.
don't matter.
Well,
there ain't no Mediterranean about there, dude. That's fucking Jesus.
I don't wear.
That's a thicket, dude. That's what's like.
skirts for this reason.
Robin Williams
I
was
need
a
to-
very, very hairy man.
Yeah, he was.
This is when we get the montage played over Dude Looks Like a Lady by Aerosmith, which I loved this song growing up. And listening to a classic rock station growing up, and this song was always on. I don't know if it's still played anymore. I know like the world we live in now, it's probably not
It's about Vince Neil.
appropriate. Is it really?
I think so. It's either Vince Neil or Bret Michaels. I think it's
It was
Vince
about
Neil.
the hairband, whatever, guys who wear makeup.
That's what the song is about.
Yeah.
This is why Pandora exists.
Do they? I don't know. I don't listen to the radio
like, I
anymore.
don't listen to the radio,
I still
so they-
enjoy the song a lot. I think it's a really good song.
You don't
Well,
like
like I
it.
said, it's about
Fucking hate that song.
hair bands.
Yeah.
It's about 80s hair bands. So
We get the vacuum
And
dancing.
now-
Yeah.
the irony is now Steven Tyler looks like your grandma.
I know. He looks like a lady.
He looks like a nana.
Yeah.
He looks like your cool
That song
aunt.
could be about himself.
It is.
Dude has a mouth, though.
Well,
Have you seen him open his mouth?
It's like a
Oh, yeah.
Like
he's
a
a
bat.
trout. You got a trout pout.
It's like It's like Pennywise when he opens his mouth. It's got the
Like,
headlights in there.
yes.
Oh, look at the headlights!
No.
So we're learning. Daniel's learning how to cook. He's watching Julia Childs.
I
Which
knew
is
that was
actually-
Julia Child. I fucking knew it. I was
It
like,
was,
Julia
that was
Child's
one of his
like, oh.
inspirations behind the voice of Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, the whole character seemed
If there's
very-
a cooking
It was-
show in one of those movies, then it is Julia Child
Almost always.
for sure.
I
Yes,
grew up watching her on PBS.
Why is everything like all? I mean, no, this is no,
Lady
not a
could
bad
cook.
thing. But every show in this show are all old, even at the time of this show.
True, they're
Is
not.
that-
Yeah,
Maybe
that's true.
there's-
They're not.
there's
it was
nothing
cheaper
really
to get those
modern.
clips.
Probably.
It was cheaper to
Oh,
get old
absolutely.
clips.
Yeah,
Probably
because you got to pay the
are.
rights, and you're like, ooh,
Yeah.
we only
Right,
got
they
a
made their own
$25 million budget here, guys.
Right.
Yeah.
They made their own cartoon instead
Yeah.
of like using a cartoon or watching the
Yeah.
Dyke show.
I mean, it
Outer
had to have been
Limits.
pretty expensive to bring Chuck Jones in to do
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
cartoon in
that
the beginning.
for sure. That for sure, because Chuck Jones. Well, I don't know.
Maybe.
Most
I don't
of
know.
their budget.
Yeah.
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 Maybe
You
it's
see.
something they had lying around.
Yeah. Maybe. We see Nat getting Stuart Little read to her finally. Thank God.
Charming.
Yes.
And this is when I love the whole thing where she sees Stu. He's outside. He's out by his car. And she waves at him, and then she flips him off.
Like,
We then see her getting mugged. I love where she's
Almost.
yeah. She breaks
Knock off!
breaks the strap on the back.
bastard broke my bag.
Favorite bag.
The
And
other lady in the drive from the walking crosswalk like runs off. She's like, "Oh,
Jesus!" Not
I
what I was
wonder if she
expecting.
didn't know what was going on. I wonder if they were filming from her back.
It
and
was
they just, like,
probably
had,
one
like,
of
a-
those. Yes.
Right, and like the
it
people on the street
could've
didn't realize
been-
that they were filming a
Yeah, I
movie.
don't
They're
know.
like, "Wow, that old lady
Like-
mugged. I'm running. I'm out of here."
She sees Stu's car outside the house. It's a Mercedes, so it's got the hood ornament. And she rips it off.
Yep.
There's actually like 3 deleted scenes that have to do with Mrs. Deagle, because Mrs. Deagle is actually supposed to be more prominent in this movie, where Mrs. Doubtfire meets her and they talk about her garden, and Mrs. Doubtfire comes up with a story about how she was a gardener for like a royal family. And so she has a tip for Mrs. Deagle to help her flowers, because her stems on her flowers are very flaccid. They're weak. You need. I was like, oh God, this is great. She's like, tell me your secret, because she's like, I have a secret on how to get them nice and nice and stiff for you. She's like, tell me. And so oh man, what was it? It was like coffee. It was like coffee grounds, some other ingredient, and then there was dog piss. She had to spritz dog piss on the flowers, and it can only be and the easiest way of getting it is from a male dog, because if you can use a cup, you can as soon as it lifts its leg, you can put the cup under it. This is literally what she says. And she's like, if it's a female dog, you got to put a sauce under there. It gets messy. And so periodically it's supposed to show how she starts doing Mrs. Doubtfire's secret, where the flowers are starting to wilt and then they start to die.
Oh, of course.
He's like freaking out. So yeah, she goes in, she meets Stu. Of course, she has nothing good to say about him.
Of course.
And
that's said under his breath.
Oh yeah.
Well, the whole thing about like pretty much saying that Stu's got a small dick.
Yes.
Yep.
Right. Straight to his face.
Oh yeah, like
yes.
driving
a
car like that.
Yes.
Yep.
Driving a fancy car.
And Miranda brings Mrs. Doubtfire to the side and asks her, like, hey, so how long after
Don't look at me.
after your husband
I drive a piece of shit. Look at me. What does that say?
I'm just saying that's used today. Like,
according to when I was coaching youth lacrosse, I had a kid literally tell me I drove a mom car, so I just accept it now. I'm just like, I drive a mom car. It's fine.
Wow, that's devastating.
I don't care.
I drive a Chevy
shit with these
Cruze,
kids
so
think.
Yeah.
Car.
I drive a mom car. Apparently.
So Miranda asked Mrs. Doubtfire, hey, how long after your husband died did you like jump back in the sack? And she's like, never.
Never again?
Never.
Once you leave, or your father or your children, it's a lifetime of celibacy from now.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I don't know about all that. Okay.
She's
Thank
like,
you, Mrs. Doubtfire.
yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Have you seen Stu? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Right?
Nope.
I'm gonna get a piece of that.
She's probably already gotten it. It's whatever.
I mean, I don't know. She seems a little uptight that she wouldn't be giving it up on the second date.
Yeah, and they haven't even had an alone date yet. 'Cause
Also
they still do the pool thing before they have their date, right?
I think so. And he
Yeah.
wants to go there for his 39th birthday. Is that his 39th birthday?
It's her birthday.
Oh, her 39th
It was
birthday?
it was her birthday.
For her birthday.
Yeah. I don't think they say how old she was going
I
to
don't
be.
think
Yeah.
they say
No,
how
I
old
don't
she
think
is.
they don't know.
Well,
Like
they're
I
the same
stated,
age
she was
because they went to college
47.
together.
She looked
Yeah,
good.
like she doesn't. Yeah, she didn't
Yeah.
look.
I
No,
assume
she
she was also supposed to be
I would
39
assume
or
because
40
like
because
you
they
Yeah,
went to
yeah,
college
yeah.
together.
right, and you just can't have a female protagonist be older than the
Sure you
romantic
can.
love interest. Well, you can, but not in Hollywood.
Sure.
Not in the
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah,
Hollywood
but that's
doesn't
what
allow it.
that's what your second marriage is all about, right?
Oh, that's
You
true.
leave your
You get a younger one.
Yep. You
Hell
leave your
no.
same age husband
Well,
you
you
had
don't, like,
kids with.
marry
I
him.
mean, you
No,
gotta
you
give
don't
him
marry him.
upgrade.
She didn't say
No.
she was gonna marry him.
That's true.
She won't get up in that rug on the chest. She's like,
Just
let me run my fingers through that.
I just want
I
to go
don't
to the
know, man.
pool.
When the
like-
kid tells him your tummy doesn't look like my daddy's tummy.
Like what?
Oh,
that was a
weird
weird-
thing to say.
that
That's
was
a
a
weird
weird thing to
for
say.
a 5-year-old.
I know.
That's
You
weird.
ever point out my stomach to anybody, and you'll get punched in the face.
I think that's
Right.
I think that's like an unwritten rule you never
Yeah, I
mention
have
that.
like common
I mean,
sense. So,
I can't comment on
Every
anyone.
kid.
I'm a fat fuck too. So Mrs. Doubtfire gets discovered by Chris as he's taking a pee-pee. And pretty
Why
much
did you lock the door?
yeah, right.
I know. Lock the door. It's
I guess it's because it's his. I guess it's because it was the house that he lived in, so it's like it's just a natural
Maybe.
thing. Maybe. I mean, I still
Maybe.
lock the door when I go to
Bathroom.
the bathroom because I don't trust my children
I
not
know,
to just
seriously.
walk in, especially
Yeah,
the
yeah.
littlest
Bathrooms.
one. So
And I think he overreact just a little with like call the cops. Call the cops. Why? Because your babysitter has a wiener. Like, what are the
Yeah.
cops gonna do about
Like,
it? Is that a
has your
crime?
babysitter
Yeah.
ever done anything untoward to you?
Right? I'm like,
Yeah.
Has
just
she ever been
because-
cruel or weird?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
way
Like
overreacted.
he kind of yeah. And
I mean,
then,
I
like,
can
to
see
not
being
wanna-
weirded out when you find out it's your dad.
Yes.
yeah.
But just the fact that like that's a weird moment and you go oop and you back out, but you're
Well,
not like
run
call the
and tell
cops.
your sister. Like, hold on, we got to have a discussion here. There's something weird going on in this house.
Right. I just saw Miss Doubtfire standing up to pee.
Like, oh wow.
is this
okay.
something we
But
should know
even
about?
when he finds out that it's his dad, and like he doesn't want to touch him.
Yeah, he doesn't want him to hug him.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to hug him, but then he doesn't even want to touch him and put his hand in there.
Yeah, I think it's just more of the fact of like he's still in kind of like this weird phase where it's like, I don't know.
That's gotta be weird.
That's gotta be weird. I mean, like to know that
like, is my dad a crossdesser or does
he
my
tells
dad
him straight out? He's like, I don't do this for fun. Like this is the only way.
But he's still just processing. He's 12.
That's true.
He's going through his whole.
It's a lot to have to process because that's a weird.
He's imagining playing soccer in the park with Mrs. Doubtfire and like,
that's
my dad the whole time in them high-heeled orthopedic shoes.
Damn, like dad's a baller apparently.
Right? I couldn't imagine your dad as a cross-dresser.
Fuck no.
I like that would just be bizarre. Like to know that he'd gone that far.
Yeah.
In like deceiving you kind of because he was,
because I feel like he could have told the kids from the get.
The older two,
I feel like the older two, as soon as he got hired, taking him aside, like, all right, look, like lift that mask a little, like.
They asked him, like, who did this? It's like your uncle and
who do you fucking think? Who do you fucking think?
And they don't seem shocked at all by it.
No, they're like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
He says Uncle Frank and Aunt Jack.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute. There were two guys. Like, that would confuse me.
Sometimes it's just how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, like that would confuse me more at that age.
So, little side story about Harvey Fierstein. So the reason he got the job in this movie is because Robin Williams did an impression of him in like a comic relief show, and he really liked it. So he actually came to the set, or he came to audition or something when he heard that Robin Williams' character was gonna have a gay brother. He comes in and like acted like he was offended by his impression of him, and then was just like, "You're gonna give me the job as your brother." And he's like, "Perfect. Right. This sounds great."
And his actual brother, Robin Williams' actual brother, was in this movie. He was the bartender.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Wow,
really?
His half
brother. Yeah, yes. Whatever. But
sorry,
his
be technical here.
They get really mad if you don't do that.
Yes, you need a half brother. So don't tell mom and don't tell Nat because Nat's gonna blow the cover. We then see Daniel he's talking with Mr. Lundy, who he doesn't know is Mr. Lundy, who's like the head of the studio because of the very boring dinosaur man. Dan, what movie have we done on the show where this guy showed up? This cop. Or the actor. He played a cop in a movie. I can't.
Yeah,
Lundy or the boring dinosaur
the boring
guy?
Dinosaur guy. He was in a movie we just talked about. He was a cop. We'll think of it.
Lundy was in Gremlins too.
Yeah.
Yes, he was the vampire guy.
He was in Gremlins too. Yeah.
I can't remember.
Oh, is Mr.
the grandpa?
Is it Mr. Sprinkles? Right, that was his name.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
Right there. William Newman.
Leprechaun. He was the cop in Leprechaun. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's because of the facial hair and stuff.
Yep.
It throws me off. Okay.
That's his actual picture on IMDb.
Is him in Leprechaun?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
That's awesome. So
we then get a scene of Miranda and Mrs. Doubtfire talking about Winston getting hit by a Guinness truck. It's like, he was an alcoholic. That's how he died.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got hit by a Guinness truck, so he literally got hit
by. Yeah. Oh.
And then
Can you imagine telling that story with a straight face.
Right. Oh, they didn't. I saw they did this a lot. Yeah. It was like 14 or 15 takes, which is not actually, it doesn't even sound like that much. But Miranda spills her guts about her life with Daniel and how she knew for a while that she wasn't happy with him. She used to fall asleep crying and stuff like that. I was like, this is when it got like deep. I was like, where are we going? This is a direction I was expecting. And this wasn't a direction I remember as a kid. We then go to the pool. We talked a lot about this scene already. We see, Stu talking to his friend at the bar and kind of talking up the family. So he's a nice guy. Stu's a nice dude. Like originally there was an actual script where Stu was going to be the antagonist of this. It just didn't make any sense. I like the direction they did. Of course, he badmouths Daniel, which is understandable, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, how does he know that Daniel's literally 5 feet away from him? And Daniel smokes him with the most accurate headshot with a fucking lime.
Hard.
Just
you didn't dump that tray of teas. I would have dumped that tray of teas. If a lime hit me going that hard back of the head, that whole tray is going in the pool.
Like bye.
I'm on the ground.
Ah! I'm getting a check from the pool club.
He just paused like.
It was so.
It was all embarrassing.
Yeah.
If they would have knocked my glasses off my face, I would have burned that motherfucker
And I'm
to the
sorry, you're
ground.
telling me there was so many people there. Nobody
know,
watched
nobody
him
saw
wind back.
Holy shit.
launch
The
that
bartender right there.
I saw
somebody
nothing.
saw that.
He knew. Stu
Well,
knew.
he was like-
Stu knew. You know Stu knew that it
Yeah,
was
you
her.
could
That's
tell.
true.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
true.
Stu knew. She made it very clear to his face that she was not a fan.
Yeah,
No.
she like don't want him to touch him.
I think that's the only reason he kept inviting her places was because he was trying to get. He knew she was like
If
the
he
I
kids
could
love
see
her.
the
If I can
waters.
get
out
I could see the water's very cold.
very cold, and he's like, "Oh, it covers with the towel."
Haha.
There's a deleted scene where Nat actually questions that. She's like, "What does that
Ah!
mean?"
Oh,
What
like
does that
what does that
mean?
mean?
Yeah. But I was like, there's no fucking way, unless you are like an MLB pitcher, you are accurately headshotting a dude from 15, it was like probably 15, 20 feet of him just perfect right in the back of the fucking head.
And
The
while you're
line.
tipsy,
Oh,
Yeah.
he was
shit.
drinking at the
Having
bar.
beers and
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, no,
And then
yeah.
to say to his friend, the
Yeah.
guy that Stu was talking to, like, what are you looking at?
And it's like,
your
why-
buddy's not going to say, did you?
Right?
It was
So
her.
that
that
old
Piece
lady
them
that came
together.
with the
It
family.
was the old lady.
You know
Well,
that's
that
a
is
dude, right?
yeah, you know
'Cause
that's
he
a
just
dude,
talked
right?
to me at the bar, and that's clearly a man.
I think there's something up with her housekeeper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You also had the shot where the woman walks up to order a drink. He's like, "Oh, that's on
Oh,
me," and
yes.
she's like, "Nope."
No, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Listen,
kind of
I
weird
don't
sex
care
thing you're
if I
into.
walked up to a bar and there was an elderly lady who's like, "That one's on me," I'd be like, "You're a good lady.
Thanks.
Come in.
Thanks.
So,
I
you know,
appreciate
I mean,
you."
yeah, I guess
It
so,
was
but
the wink.
See, yeah, it was.
It was
the
the
Yeah,
wink.
it was just
Yeah.
weird. And he
As a
said
woman,
it in
you
his
don't ever
voice.
want to accept.
Yeah.
You don't ever
And
want
the
to
fact
accept
that-
from
Yeah, I
peers
get-
'cause you don't know what you're gonna
I
have
get
to put up with
100%. Yeah.
for the
But
rest
he's-
of the goddamn day.
Yeah. Oh, I bought you that drink. That means I can talk to you whenever I want. No,
Yeah,
get the fuck
exactly.
away from me. I
No.
appreciate the drink, but get the fuck away from me.
And he's
Yeah.
staring at her boobs.
Oh,
like,
well,
I
and he's
know, like-
talking to her in his regular
Yeah.
voice, which was just like
hey,
How's
it's
it
on
going?
me.
throwing
Yeah.
her off, and yeah, that was weird.
And I
definitely
don't think
shouldn't
it
be
was,
taken.
but for just a second, I thought that was Bobby Brown from the Cherry Pie video.
Yes, it looked like her kind of. 'cause
She's
she looked
my cherry pie. I thought that was
she
her.
did. She looked
but I
like
don't think it
Bobby,
was.
the Bobby,
Not Bobby,
Millie
not Bobby B.
not Bobby B,
And
not Millie Bobby B, not Bobby B, but Bobby Brown.
So yeah, we get the run by fruiting line, which is always
Yeah.
it's a very quotable line.
Love it.
We then get Daniel messing around with the dinosaurs at the studio, which then gets Lundy's attention, which then gets him a meeting at this fancy restaurant called Bridges
See,
on Friday at 7:00, and he's like, "I'm in."
that
Yep.
whole scene with the dinosaurs is one
was
of my
fun.
favorite.
Oh, so good,
Yeah.
It's one of
I'd watch
know
that
that
show.
was not scripted.
100%.
Oh no, none of that. Like
and as
I'm
much
sure
as
most
I
of it
would have
wasn't.
loved the Miss Doubtfire show, I want to just see what was the dinosaur rapping show.
Yeah.
Like, can I just
Yeah.
see the
The
him
raptor
being
rap.
himself?
See that?
Got to do
Yeah.
the raptor
Yes.
rap.
I'll be back, but I'm coming as
Will.
Yes.
Oh, it's so
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
Oh shit. So, but then later that night, he gets invited to Miranda's birthday at the same restaurant at the same fucking time, and he's like, "I gotta say no," and she's like, "No, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. You gotta do it."
No.
And I love how she was
know,
giving
yeah,
her
she's like,
shit for the
"Oh, but
dress
look
too.
Look at little Natty's face.
And
How could you
she's
say
known
no
her
to
for what? 3 months? Like, does it
Yeah.
even ever say what's the duration of time?
No, it doesn't. But I mean, like,
But that was a weak ass excuse. What was it?
She-
Bingo? Like, you could have said like a real
mean,
thing,
like,
like,
yeah,
a
like, how
relative.
active surgery.
Right.
that
I'm
day.
having. Yeah. I'm.
I'm-
My eyes dilate.
Well, that and like, I don't know. Like, the only reason she wants me is because she doesn't want to watch her fucking kids while she's on the date.
Right.
Yep.
That's why.
She was like, "Oh, attend to my children." Well, because
Tend
how
to
she
them.
wanted her to take her to the bathroom, and she's like, "No, mommy, I want you to
Yeah,
take me to
you
the
take
bathroom."
Invite her to-
Yeah.
Like that bothers me because like I get offended sometimes when my daughter's like, "Hey dad, will you do this with me?" I'm like, "You don't ever ask me to do that." So it's like that's the personal moment. Like I would take my daughter to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't let anybody else take her. Like at that age.
And why? Because you're. She had so much hairspray. That hairstyle.
I know.
at the
It looked like
dinner.
a brown foot.
Oh, it did. She had her Malin
Yep.
hairstyle on from
That comb it.
Steel Magnolias.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know what that was all about. That take my daughter to the bathroom for me.
Yeah, that
So
was
she
such a
wanted her to
weird
work.
thing.
She
like,
wanted her to
yeah.
work. It was a working dinner. Like Mrs. Doubtfire.
Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire should have tried way harder not to not create this situation, which is
absolutely
a very highly comedic situation. I'm glad it happened because
it is
really
funny. This is one of the best scenes. Is the restaurant?
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
this is my favorite of the whole movie.
Yeah, you get the whole thing where Miranda takes Nat to the bathroom. You get Mrs. Doubtfire, just all these sex analogies to Stu to make him uncomfortable about the fact she's got this big, she got this toy. All these things to make him uncomfortable.
That was hilarious.
Chip a tooth.
Dude, the power tool.
I know. Jesus, probably didn't have a
Yes,
kickstart.
a power tool. Like what?
Think of like an auger with like a dildo.
Right?
Yikes.
He's got one of them pommel horse things with the dildo on top.
Oh,
right?
God.
Like a
fuck
machine.
God.
Yeah, fuck machine.
A steam-powered fuck machine.
Oh my god.
Coal
Who
fire.
doesn't still need steam power coal fire in the 90s. Hopefully by then she had a
steam
cord.
Oh Lord.
It's American, baby. It's powered by a small block Chevrolet.
Right?
It's got a
Go. You gotta
Yeah, it's a
ripcord
Oh, yeah, dude. There ain't no ripcord. You ain't doing it right, baby.
right?
Start that bitch like a lawnmower. 2 feet on there. Just,
Yes.
Oh God. So
Lawnmower.
yeah, you get throughout the entire night, Daniel has to switch between Mrs. Doubtfire and being himself to meet with Mr. Lundy. But like he drinks so much with Mr. Lundy that he's getting so drunk that it's starting to like seep over into Mr. Lundy's meeting. So like he comes back with the lipstick and he smells like women's perfume, but then he comes up with the story about how he ran into an old girlfriend who was a waitress and all that stuff.
And like, do you have one for me? Does you have a friend for me?
Mr. Lundy,
You are 30 years older than
I got
him.
the stretch outside. And also my second question is, what kind of knob orders not spicy jambalaya?
I know. Why'd you get
'Cause he's allergic to
jambalaya?
pepper.
Not spicy. Get something else.
I know, but don't order non-spicy.
Let me
just get a shrimp
just
salad
get
or
something
something.
else.
Let me mention the deleted scene. So in the movie, you get the whole him ordering the jambalaya without the spice because he's allergic to pepper. You see Mrs. Doubtfire going into the kitchen, putting the pepper on the order, leaving. There's a deleted scene where actually the cook notices what he's doing. And he's like, oh, well, he ordered, which that guy, I think, is in he's in a Law and Order or something, or he's in NCIS. He's been on NCIS for like 20 years. Yeah, the cook who put the order up. And he notices what Mrs. Doubtfire is doing, and he's like, oh, he ordered it no spice. He's like, and Robin Williams does like one of those like Cajun like accents, like the Bayou accents, to be like, oh, I can't do it. But he's talking about like, if there's no spice, then what's the point? And so he puts it on. The guy's like, okay.
Well, because you don't order
jambalaya. You don't order
spicy.
Bland jambalaya.
Was that jambalaya though? Just looked like shrimp on his plate. Like it didn't look like jambalaya.
That was like not even
it was a deconstructed jambalaya or something. Like every portion was just like.
Yeah, it was weird.
Was ordering it.
And and he didn't even have an allergic reaction. He just choked on the shrimp.
Yeah, that's right. Like he doesn't have the that normal reaction.
And he didn't see that because Mrs. Doubtfire dust.
She put a lot of pepper.
Bop, bop.
She puts a lot on
a
there,
lot.
Yeah.
And there's none. When you see his plate, it looks clean.
He
Those
didn't look
shrimp
at that
clean.
shit before he put it in his mouth.
Yeah.
I love the whole, we're going to tuck it right here and pat it like a baby. Like, nobody's going to see that.
Right?
So there's also a deleted scene, when Daniel goes into the bathroom to change in the women's bathroom, he tucks the bags next to the toilet. There's a deleted scene where a woman actually finds them and takes them to the maitre d'. And so Daniel has to go up to him and ask about it. And the maitre d' pulls out the bodysuit and is like, is this yours? And he's like, oh yeah. And he was like, it's for somebody else.
Right.
But you have that whole interaction. And Nat sees him, is like, oh, daddy's here. And Miranda turns around and he ducks behind the station. And it's like, oh, you must be seeing things. I was like, I'm glad they cut that. I didn't like that scene.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah,
it's chaotic enough.
Yeah, there's plenty of craziness happening.
So much chaos.
So, of course, the third time Daniel goes back to Mr. Lundy, he's in the full Mrs. Doubtfire look.
Right.
And
he's messed up.
And I thought he was gonna go with this was the friend he found her.
Oh, that would.
I thought he was gonna go with like,
She's
whoa,
like,
my
so-
friend, the waitress said
and
you're
things got a
looking
little
for a
weird.
woman. Yeah.
Right? I hear you're down to party, dear.
Yeah, exactly. I heard you got the stretch outside.
Downstairs it smells like
I made her Irish.
down there it smells like Earl Grey tea.
Oh.
I guess it could be a lot worse than smells
I
like
mean, I
Earl Grey
suppose
tea
so,
when
like-
you're 70 or whatever.
That could be a nice smell. If it ain't
Smells
your
like
kid.
mothballs and Earl Grey tea.
Oh, moth
Oh, mothballs
Oh.
sting.
cobwebs.
Oh Lord. So yeah, so Daniel's like, oh, this is your new host of your new show. And he's like all on
Yes.
board, but he's also like half in the bag. So he's like, sure, okay, whatever.
Alright.
And that's when Stu gets his meal. The first shrimp he puts in his mouth, he starts choking on it. They, this is whole thing, and this is when Daniel like comes in like, help is on the way. And like you stated, and like you said in the beginning of the episode, he perfectly vaults that fucking counter, which he literally hit about 10 minutes before. He literally runs into it.
Yeah.
And
so
does the Heimlich.
good.
Very terrible. Definitely doesn't know how to actually do the Heimlich, like he stated
surely
earlier.
broke
think so.
several ribs.
Oh,
He
absolutely.
surely
Yeah,
had to
like,
have
you
broken
gotta
a
get
lot
all
of
up
Stu's
Yeah.
ribs.
falling all over the
Yeah.
floor. Well, he was
Yeah.
drunk. I mean, he wasn't doing
Did
it
you
properly. And not one waiter.
Yeah.
I know
At
nobody.
work
All of
Working
them
at
are
the
just standing there
restaurant,
like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do?
Could you imagine
Mrs.
vaulting
Doubtfire
that wall
from
though?
Yes.
After
And in
you've been
those
drinking? I can
drunk
barely
and
walk
in that
after I've been
outfit.
Right?
Yeah.
In heels.
I mean,
Amazing.
literally.
Impressive.
So
Impressive.
Stu gets saved, but it knocks off Mrs. Doubtfire's mask. So Daniel has been discovered by
Party's over.
everybody else. Miranda reacts exactly as I would expect anyone to react in this situation. Like, I
so
love
the
it. It's like
whole time?
all different emotions. Where it's just like
She
the whole
has what we
time,
call
the
a
whole
Sybil
time,
moment.
the whole
That's
time.
how we refer to
She
Sally
has
Field when
a
she has
Sybil
those as a
moment,
Sybil
yes.
moment. Did you ever watch Sybil?
No.
Yes.
Don't.
Well, no, dude. It's a TV miniseries.
You will be
from the
horrified, not
70s.
because it's bad,
No,
because
it's
you
great.
will be horrified
It's-
at the story.
It's frightening.
It's frightening.
But Sally Field, young Sally Field, plays
She has
Sybil,
13
who has
personalities,
multiple personalities,
and
they
she
all-
does this
uh-huh.
throughout the movie. So every
She
time in
switches throughout all of
in
these
this,
things.
in oh my god, the one we were just talking about, the Southern Lady one, Steel Magnolias. She always has one of those moments where you
Right,
watch
she
her
has a
go through
Sybil
the
moment.
Sybil personalities of like
where she has a attack. She has a Sybil
Yeah.
moment.
and she's
I
having
loved
a
it.
conversation with herself.
Yeah, I mean, if you could find Sybil, you should watch it.
It's perfect how she reacts. I just love the deep the whole time.
Yes, the whole time. Like, oh fuck, we gotta go. We
Yeah.
gotta go. We gotta go out of this
And-
restaurant right now.
Yeah, they all leave, and you get the whole thing where Daniel and Stu kind of shake on everything. And I never realized that he actually admits to peppering his food. He's like, sorry for the.
Oh.
He says sorry for the pepper.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Because he was like, oh my god, I
But once
killed
again,
the
he
bastard.
did not have an allergic reaction.
No, he
to the
chokes
pepper.
on the fucking. Shrimp.
Like they didn't need to even
For
say
one,
he was
who eats a
Because you
shrimp
know
whole?
what?
Okay.
Right? And like,
fuck's
you know,
wrong with
allergic.
you?
No.
What are you,
first
a
of all,
snake?
he did it wrong.
So I
Second
guess
of
he
all,
didn't
I'm willing
chew
to bet
because
he
of the
wasn't
pepper.
fucking allergic. I bet you he just doesn't like it spicy, so he tells people that he's allergic to make
But
sure
it's
that
like
he doesn't
you're a
get shit.
British dude. They love like curry and Indian spices. They like
But
spicy
they
shit.
also like
I
bullshit
can't do
and
spicy.
mash.
Yeah, plain stuff.
Yeah.
You don't go to Britain like, oh, their food's so good. Like, no, it's
I've heard it's not.
Well,
that
that's
great,
not
unless
their
it's-
food. That's
yeah, it's not
another
their
co-opted
It's
food.
another food that
Okay.
they've empired themselves
Yes.
into getting.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't do the spicy.
Mm.
Sorry.
So
Like our
there's
shit
actually
spicy.
there's a deleted scene that actually shows Daniel going back to Miranda's house without the mask, and Mrs. Deagle runs into him because of course her flowers are dead after the whole fucking spray it with dog piss scenes. There's like 4 of them.
Terrible.
Literally watch the deleted scenes if you can find them. If you have the Blu-ray, it's on the Blu-ray, but if just Google them, the whole Mrs. Deagle scenes where he's periodically just telling her how to make her flowers better, but slowly she's killing them. But yeah, she discovers that it's Daniel, and she gives like, "Oh, you're a terrible person," blah blah blah. And he's like, "I don't fucking care. Shut the fuck up and go away."
Right.
And then they have the whole conversation. They argue in like the at the front door, and the kids hear it, and the whole thing where it's like Daniel's like, oh, the kids love me, and Miranda's like, no, the kids love me too, and then they're on the stairs, and Lydia's just like, I hate you both, and then runs off, and then they all kind of follow suit. I'm happy that they didn't put that in there. So Daniel, he gets royally fucked in court. He gets pretty much like the visitation. You have to have like a court, somebody from the courts coming and, you know, be there with him. And I get it with what he did. Yeah,
that's an extreme. I mean, like, I don't even know how you would deal with something like that. Like how, like in family court, like I'm surprised they didn't bring it up more.
Yep.
Yeah.
That wasn't more of a thing. Like, bruh, you like
pretended to be someone else,
a whole nother person, and lied and like weaseled your way in there, and like I don't know, it's icky.
So, but Daniel does get the show, the Mrs. Doubtfire show. I don't know what the hell the name of the show was. I'm guessing it was just called the Mrs. Doubtfire show.
I guess it's Euphigenia's house.
Oh, Effie's house. He says or something.
I love it.
Yep.
I know. I love it. It's so cute and it's charming because they see it. They hear it when they're in the house, how they talking about how they miss her. And they hear her from the other room and she's on TV.
Yeah. And that's when Miranda's kind of like, okay, maybe I should figure something else out. Goes and visits him, talks. Yeah.
Sees him like completely destroyed in court. Like he's like, I'm addicted to my children. I can't be away from my children.
She really should have said something.
She really should have.
The judge calls him out. He's like, oh, I just think you're being a good actor. It's like, fuck you, man.
No.
Right, like I would.
She should have been like,
said,
actually,
no, like,
what is he benefiting? He's not benefiting financially from seeing this.
Like,
it's not like he's going to get money from her. No, it's going to be a joint thing where they're going to. He just wants to see his fucking kids. You suck.
Although, I mean, I guess also because she realized that she's been having all these heart-to-hearts with Mrs. Doubtfire, that she's grown to love and look at as like a mother figure, only to find out it's your ex-husband.
Well, and that's when she says she was mad. Like, why she let the judge do that is because she was mad, and that's what the judge decided.
And I mean,
she wasn't going to
sometimes
defend
it takes
him.
a minute. She was in her own way about it, but like that destroyed him, having his kids taken away from him. Like,
gosh,
absolutely.
Her whole face during this whole time, like her jaw drops when
I know
the judge says,
"Fucked up."
I'm like, say something, please. Say something. Yeah. Like, you know, you want to.
Fuck her lawyer too. Do you ever see her lawyer's face every time? Like yeah, like fuck you, bitch.
Well, like it's just her record. She
it's
really
her job.
Shit about
right?
She's
like,
that's what I need. Like neither does his lawyer. None of these lawyers.
He didn't have a lawyer though at the end.
Oh, that's right. Anybody that represents themselves has a full client.
Yeah. So they work a thing out though where he gets to see the kids again, and that's how the movie ends. And fun fact, there was a writer who wrote this exact ending, got fired because the studio didn't like it. They wanted Miranda and Daniel to get back together, and it didn't screen well, so they came up with this. They had to rehire the writer because they felt bad, and they ended up doing the whole ending with them not getting back together, which I think is a perfect ending. I don't like the fact. I always hate when you have something like this. Like there was no factor throughout this entire movie that would say, hey, I think they should get back together. There was nothing. There was nothing between those two characters that would have been like, these two need to get back together. No, this is the way it needed to end, and I'm happy that it all worked out.
They needed to get together for the kids and co-parent for these kids,
right? But they
did
not be a couple.
There's
a
difference
between relationship for their family, but not for.
And I'm glad they didn't take it a step further and have it end like at her wedding to Stuart or something. You know what I mean? Like where they're all a big happy. He's the best man.
Yeah, right.
Oh no,
you know what I mean? Like, okay, you took it too far now.
That's too far.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Too far.
Yeah, there's a big difference between being co-parenting and having a loving relationship like marriage. That's a big difference.
Yeah. Like he's still the father of her kids. She's still the mother of her kids. Like
they can be
they're
friends.
always gonna have to deal with each other. So eventually, given enough time, they can maybe laugh at it over Christmas. I don't know.
My dad still hates my mom to this day. It's been 26 years. Well,
I mean, I don't know. This is a nice little happy family movie. So I mean, they had to wrap it up and make it nice somehow.
Oh, they just fucking hate each other. Fuck this.
Yeah, I know. And they went on hating each other forever. The end.
Okay. Well, that is the end of that. We're gonna hop over to Twitter and Instagram and read off some of the comments that people left. Our first comment is from our good friend Darren Lumberg over at NostalgiaCast, who as you guys are listening to this, his episode came out about 3 weeks ago, but he just released an episode on Mrs. Doubtfire. He said, between this, Crimson Tide, and The Rocketeer, it seems a lot of like-minded podcasting friends are tackling the same topics, and it's less a problem than a plethora of diverse, wide-ranging takes. And he just says that he can't wait to hear our episode. And then everybody else's comments were just quotes from the movie. Cinema Trip Reviews just said it has to be one of his favorite Robin Williams films and a great cast. Let's hop over to Instagram real quick. We had Billy Joseph Jr., who is a patron of the show, who said, "What a pairing! Can't wait."
Billy Joseph Jr.
He's just messaging me right
now.
now.
We know
I just got a message from Billy Joseph Jr.
Don't worry, I'm about to. Don't worry, I'm gonna message. I'm gonna message in your Discord and say sorry for keeping the ladies so long. Team TNA podcast said, "Yo, this is our favorite movie. Love it." And our good friend Sean O'Rourke from Movie Dumpster said, "Watch out for any drive-by fruitings." And then our friend Tammy from the Quad Pro Quo podcast said, "Hello." See, it's just quotes. Well, you gotta say, and you gotta thank you for everybody who left comments on the show. This has been a lot of fun. Nicole, Tessa, thank you so much for being here. You guys are amazing. I love your show, and I'm very excited that you guys said yes to being on mine. And then I hope you guys will come back. I hope you guys had a good time. Even though sorry everybody, we left with the 2 hours. I know this is not their normal length of podcast. This is an extreme for them. So thank you for sitting with us for over 2 hours to talk about Mrs. Doubtfire.
No, thanks for having us. This
no
is a good
problem.
time.
We had fun.
Yeah.
Still haven't hit our 3-hour mark.
No, fuck that.
We haven't either.
No.
At least we like this movie.
Yeah.
Right?
3 hours of Jurassic World Dominion.
Oh,
fuck.
Wow.
It was a great time, though. It was a great time. It was a great time to talk about a garbage movie with somebody who's fun. Next week, though, for episode 107, we are going to have another guest. We're going to have the official Joey C on to talk about Ernest, Scared Stupid. So very excited to talk about the movie. I haven't seen that movie in probably since I was a kid.
Same.
A movie that came out the year I was born. So again, make you guys feel older.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
Thanks. I have clear memories of that
welcome.
one. Thank you.
I'm
gonna go die now.
Nicole, Tessa, where can everybody find you guys?
You can listen to us on just about anywhere you can find podcasts. Social media, Doom Generation Pod on Instagram, Twitter, Doom Gen Pod. But Instagram's the best place.
That's the best place. It has the tree. You got to get to the LinkTree. The LinkTree will get you all the places.
Just talking about all the links. It's killing her now.
Movie edits.
I know. And she almost died.
I almost died.
You made her feel so old. She's about to die.
Oh, no.
She's going down.
We're very happy.
Oh my God.
Before us.
You guys over there cursing all these actors into dying. Like you guys are talking.
No, we're hoping so hard.
My God.
that
Tim
Annie
Curry
came
makes
out
it
through
today.
Yes, I am in the middle of listening to that episode.
Most of those people have passed on, and we've got some you
got Tim Curry he's still kicking it.
Elderly
Carol Burnett just turned
people.
90.
So if something happens to anybody from this cast, we'll know it was us.
I know. Yeah. We're so sorry. We tried to put a
spell
of protection on them.
But I don't know that way because we don't know. I mean, we don't know how we do it. We don't know how we do it at all. They just keep dying. They just keep dying on us. I don't know.
Don't say that because we thought Betty White was going to live forever, and
we didn't do any Betty White movies. That one wasn't our.
We did a movie after she died. We did Lake Placid after she died.
We did after.
That's a lie. I don't remember what we did, but it was something because it was like we had gotten together and I had brought my Lake Placid pin from when I worked at the movie theater.
We didn't do Lake Placid.
No, it wasn't. But it was like, I'm bringing this in anticipation of Betty White's 100th birthday. And I don't remember what we were talking about.
I don't think we ever talked about anything with Betty White.
I don't know. I think it was just me and you. And then in the next couple of days, you messaged me in the morning like, did Betty White seriously die?
Yeah.
And I was like, shut up.
Yeah, we covered Lake Placid right after she died. That was our Betty White tribute episode was Lake Placid.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. That one came out. I was working at the movie theater. I have a pin. That was
I love that movie so much.
Exclusive merch.
Go listen to our Lake Placid episode, everybody.
Yes,
all of the links to Doom Generation podcast will be down in the description. Seriously,
you broke.
I broke.
Everybody broke.
Okay, I'm like, huh?
I mean, they're frozen, but I can still hear them.
Okay.
Good. Yes.
Again, I'll just repeat myself. All of Doom Generation's links will be down in the description. seriously, you need to go listen to them. They are hilarious. They pretty much do what we do, but better and shorter. And they're hilarious. We're funny sometimes.
Well, thank you.
It's mostly Dan
just take the
and Angela. I'm just kidding.
It ain't me. I'm the face. He's the
Yes, there you go. You bring the
I got the nose.
Oh,
You guys
God. Yeah. You can find us at Dissect That Film on all the social medias, on all the podcast services, on YouTube. We do video form. So you can actually, if you've been lifelong listeners of Doom Generation, you actually see their faces in this episode. So you'll be able to hop over to our YouTube channel and see their faces and be like, oh, that's what they look like.
Oh, we only put our faces on every.
Yeah, I know. Your logo is
well, I don't
literally
know.
your
Maybe
face.
if you see it like this, you'll be able to differentiate between whose voice.
Yeah,
is
nobody
what,
knows which.
Nobody...
I
don't.
have to say that I love your guys' thumbnails.
Yeah, they're so,
thank
they're
you.
so
Thank
good.
you.
I love
So
it.
I'm like, maybe
I
we
have
should
to
try something similar. It's
love-
like, I don't want to steal anybody's work. That sucks. Everybody's got to do the cool things, right? Yeah, yeah. No one else can do those things.
They're always there.
so good.
Like I love the pump up the volume. You're just blurred out in the background.
Yeah, we're always there. Sometimes
Love
we're
it.
just
We're like,
peeking out
yeah,
of the door
sometimes
like
we're
this.
Yes.
Can I just state, can people stop mixing up Samantha Morton and Samantha Mathis? I've listened to so many podcasts where they talk about Super Mario Brothers. Because Samantha Mathis is in that, who's also Pump Up the
Right.
Volume, and they keep saying
Who's
Samantha
that?
Morton.
I
I
don't
guess
even know who
another
I don't know
actress
who
who
Samantha
doesn't look
Morton
anything
is.
like Samantha Mathis. But Samantha
Yeah, I
Mathis
don't
and
know
Christian
that.
Slater also did Broken Arrow in
And Ferngully.
1996.
And
Yes, and they did voice work. Yeah, I love it. I love it. But yeah, all of our links will be down in the description as always. But until next time, everybody, I am Brett Parker. That is Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming. And that is Nicole and Tessa of the Doom Generation podcast. We are the Dissect That Film podcast episode. This has been the Dissect That Film podcast episode 106. We'll see y'all again next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.